What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories. 3TG. Chapter 51 Plane Crash Thriller Bark Open Black Lens Bracket Please give me flowers close black lens bracket. The following part of Chapter 50 has been modified. Ah, help, it's all your fault, I just said this octopus is unreliable. A pirate ship fell from the sky, with a parachute-like octopus tied to it, and it was landing rapidly. It is the Spade pirates who have returned from Sky Island. They were fine and still under control, but they encountered a huge hurricane in midair. Their direction was completely disrupted. Not to mention, they might have deviated very far from the route, and they might easily get lost. And now, the octopus is deflated. Everyone on the boat panicked. Zoro, Sanji, spread Luffy open. Luo En began to direct the emergency landing. And he used the ability of the flower fruit to hang himself an ace on the bottom of the ship, using the power of the flame burst to reduce the effect of gravity. The final speed had slowed down, and the entire ship plunged into a fog. Bang! The ship shook violently, but fortunately it could maintain its balance and finally stabilized. It's so scary, coming down from that height. It's almost life-threatening. Usopp's heart almost jumped out of his throat. Small problem, small problem. Luo En didn't panic at all. With his physical strength and abilities, there shouldn't be any big problems. Ah, Luo En also has rubber powers, why do you have to stretch me open? Luffy leaned against the mast, his tongue hanging out, and he couldn't help complaining. When Luo En heard this, he immediately ordered everyone to clean up the stalls on the ship. The reason why the ship lost control was because the gold was too heavy. After sorting it out, everyone looked around. Where is this? Why does it feel like the fog is getting thicker and thicker? Ace looked around blankly, unable to tell the direction. It feels so eerie. Usopp looked around cautiously. Nami took out the record pointer and immediately turned into a bitter face. The record pointer points to the back. We are going in the wrong direction. Are you going in the wrong direction? Then just go in the wrong direction and go straight forward. Luo En thought for a while and suddenly gave instructions. Why, if the record pointer is not full? Nami looked surprised. Luo En pointed around and did not explain to Nami. Instead, he said to Crocodile, maybe you are going to see an old friend. Crocodile was startled, then realized and said suddenly, you said this is Thriller Bark. An old friend from the first half of the Grand Line, are not really a friend, just an acquaintance, of course he is also one of the Shichibukai. Moonlight Moria, Thriller Bark, why does the name sound so spooky? Nami rubbed her shoulders and said nervously. It would be interesting if we really got here. Luo En said with a half smile. Moonlight Moria, one of the Shichibukai, a user with the Shadow Fruit ability. If possible, Luo En would also like to bring this person on board. Moria still values friendship, and Luo En wants to accumulate Devil Fruit abilities, the more the better. The Devil Fruit ability is definitely not a 1 + 1 = 2 effect on a person once it is applied skillfully. Besides, Brook is here too, and Ryoma. Thriller Bark is a must-go for Luo En. Since you arrived first, let's go in and have a look before returning to the Seven Waters capital. The capital of Seven Rivers, Luo En is a must-visit. He urgently needs a strong and good ship. The Spade pirate ship travels through the fog. If you can look down from the sky, you will find a different scene. A pirate ship that is so huge that it cannot be seen directly stands in the Devil's Triangle. Its true identity is the huge sailing ship, Thriller Bark, from West Blue. The flag is a skull with the leader Moria's onion hair style and a pair of flaming bat wings. The front door is shaped like a huge mouth with exposed teeth, specially designed to capture passing ships. Every year, more than 100 ships sail in the Devil's Triangle. The strip is missing because the island has been here for 10 years. It is surrounded by thick fog to prevent those who have lost their shadows from being wiped out by the sun. It's Moria's territory. Luo En and everyone landed quickly, and he had already explained the situation here to everyone on the way here. But after coming up, what they encountered was not Moria's skeleton soldiers or Moria's men. A melodious song came, full of loneliness and sadness. Luo En's eyes lit up. What a coincidence. Where is the sound coming from? Luffy asked doubtfully, grabbing his straw hat. Luo En waved and said, let's go and have a look. Everyone followed, and they were also curious about the source of the sound. Following the sound, I found an abandoned pirate ship. With curiosity, Luffy stretched out his hands, grabbed the fender of the pirate ship, and then ejected. Ah! Ghost. As soon as Luffy stood up, he screamed and fell down again. Robin opened his arms and summoned his arms to grab Luffy. From where Luffy had just boarded the boat, a head slowly poked out. To be more precise, it was a skull. Skeleton. Skeleton. Usopp's eyes froze for a moment. What a ghost. Chopper was so frightened that he jumped on Luo En's back, clutching Luo En's clothes tightly, closing his eyes and not daring to open them. Yo-ho-ho-ho, are there any guests? The skull let out a devilish laugh that echoed in the mist. The skeleton spoke. Luffy's eyes lit up instantly. It wasn't like seeing a skeleton, but like seeing prey. Chapter 52 Outlook. All Conquerors. The sudden appearance of the skeleton really made everyone feel a chill behind them. This picture is too scary. Talking skeleton. Luffy was the only one who could remain curious. Everyone else's eyes widened in disbelief. Usopp and Chopper were even more panicked. Even Ace's expression became serious. Did you really encounter a ghost? The dark gold is flowing in Crocodile's hands, ready to take action at any time. Don't be impulsive, the opponent is a human being. Luo En explained at the side, while stopping Ace and Crocodile from attacking. Human. Crocodile looked confused. Luo En, stop talking nonsense, it's obviously a skeleton. Usopp saw the skeleton standing up, his body was covered with bones, even the palm holding the violin was made of bones, and he covered himself in fear. Mouth kept muttering, can't see me, can't see me. If I can't see you, you can't see me. Luo En twitched the corner of his mouth. Can this kid make some progress? Yohohoho, who are you? The skeleton stood up and walked towards the crowd. To be more precise, towards Robin and Nami. The skeleton is none other than Brook. He came over. Nami's eyes widened, her beautiful eyes flashing with fear. Isn't this just a ghost? Two beautiful ladies, could you please admire your underwear? Brook's classic dialogue came out as soon as they met. Everyone, what the hell is this skeleton talking about? Nami was not calm for a moment, and punched Brook without caring about the skeleton that scared her. Yo yo yo, Brook covered his head and screamed. Luffy became even more excited, and rushed over happily and shouted. He is really a talking skeleton, join my pirate group. Be my first partner. Hello Luffy, Lousy provides you with training conditions, and you are here to compete with Lousy for people. Luo En immediately stood up and said, okay, stop making trouble, Brook, and speak more seriously. How do you know my name? Brook was stunned. He looked up and down, carefully and conscientiously, and even wanted to pluck out the non-existent eyeballs and stick them on Luo En's body. Could he be an acquaintance? How familiar is this guy? He can still recognize himself when he becomes a skeleton. If you really comply with those words, I will still remember you even if you turn into ashes. Brook was getting more and more surprised, because he didn't know Luo En at all, and at his age, when he was trapped here, the child hadn't been born yet, right? Excuse me, but I haven't seen your underwear, right? Brook said seriously. It's not like I saw your underwear. You remember Lousy until now, right? Puff. Ace couldn't hold it back and burst out laughing. Crocodile's expression changed. If he laughed wildly, wouldn't it affect his image too much? Sanji and Zoro couldn't help but laugh. Robin covered his mouth and chuckled softly. This skeleton is a bit interesting. Luo En's eyes widened and his mind was confused for a moment. Why the hell do you still want to see Lousy's underwear? He jumped out, strangled Brook's neck from behind, and warned fiercely, if you dare to lift your underwear again, Lousy will smash your whole body to pieces, take out the bone marrow and eat it, do you hear me? The bones are going to fall apart, the head is going to fall off, I'm going to die. Brook gestured with his hands and feet and begged for mercy, don't say it anymore, don't say it anymore, let go. He didn't expect that the other party was not only not afraid, but also directly threatened his lifelong interest. Brook, come with me. I will help you fulfill your wish and go see Laboon. After letting go of his hand, Luo En didn't want to waste time and said directly. Luffy protested loudly. Luo En. I was the one who invited him first. Luo En smiled slyly. Let's compete fairly to see who he joins. How did you know? Brook was completely shocked. How could the other party know all his secrets? Who was he? When Luo En explained slightly, Brook's eye sockets widened, although there was no change at all. Okay. I can join you, but I can't leave now, my shadow has been taken away. Brook said with a sigh. Open black lens bracket ding. Successfully recruited S-class crew, Brook. The number of S-level members reaches 20, the Universal Training Chamber is upgraded, and the Auxiliary Conqueror's Awakening function is unlocked. The moment Brook decided to join, Luo En received a new notification in his mind. Originally, he thought that 10 S-class crew members would be enough to unlock bonus functions, but now he was told that 20 S-class members could unlock the function of assisting the Awakening of Conqueror's Haki. Luo En was shocked. Conqueror's Haki is the rarest type of Haki. This kind of Haki cannot be learned through acquired practice, let alone improved through practice. The Universal Training Warehouse can provide Conqueror's Haki training methods. This is pervert enough. Now he actually tells Luo En that he still has the opportunity to activate the function of helping others awaken Conqueror's Haki. How can this not be shocking? You know, Luo En's current Conqueror's Haki's main improvement relies on Luffy and Ace. Compared with other abilities, the improvement is relatively slow. But if he can unlock all Conquerors, then his Conqueror's Haki will definitely undergo qualitative and quantitative changes. Chapter 53 Garp, Shanks. Therefore, Luo En was more determined to recruit Moria. I hope Moria can become the standard for S-class members. After all, it will be difficult to recruit crew members, and they may have to rely on the Universal Training Warehouse to fool them. When he heard that Brook had joined Luo En, Luffy suddenly felt like a deflated ball. His face was full of sorrow, as the partner he had chosen was snatched away again. Luo En, that's too much. Ace was already used to Luffy's state, but it was Brook's words that aroused his interest, the shadow was taken away. What do you mean? Moria must have done it. Crocodile said matter-of-factly, puffing on his cigar. The only shadow capable is that guy Moria. Do you know Moonlight Moria? Brook turned to look at Crocodile, seriously doubting whether he was Moria's partner. Don't be nervous. He and Moria were both Shichibukai before, so we know each other, but now he is my partner. Since Moria stole your shadow, let's go get it back. Luo En straightened his clothes and greeted everyone. He was also a Shichibukai before. Brook was surprised. He had also heard news about Shichibukai from outsiders, but he didn't expect that someone who was a Shichibukai like Moria would actually join this pirate group. It's just a name, Crocodile said calmly. You have to be careful. Moria is a user with the ability of the shadow fruit. Everyone who enters here has their shadow taken away by him. And the thick fog here has become a protection for those who have lost their shadow. People who have lost their shadow cannot exposure to sunlight. Brook sounded worried. Moria's ability is very tricky, otherwise, he wouldn't have been trapped here for decades. Don't worry, I believe in the strength of Ace and Lao Sha. Let me introduce Ace, the vice captain of the Spade Pirates, a user with Logia Mera Mera fruit ability. Lao Sha, the captain of the first division of the Spade Pirates, Logia Sand Sand fruit ability user. Luo En patted Brook's shoulder. The dry skull was a bit irritating. Is it all Logia? Brook began to look at this group of people with admiration. It's better to go find Moria later. Ace, introduce us to him. Luo En said. Let Brook know more about the Spade Pirates, and then let him experience the effectiveness of the Universal Training Warehouse. This pirate group seems to have a lot of secrets. Just when the Spade Pirates were taking a break, a sensational event broke out in New World. Marine hero Garp battles 4 Emperor's red-haired Shanks. Garp led the fleet and took the initiative to destroy the fleets of the 2 large fleets under Shanks. This angered Shanks, who led the pirates to find Garp, and the two had an earth-shattering battle, but the final result was a draw. Redverse. Boss, Marine has retreated. Lucky Lu asked carelessly while chewing on his meaty leg. In the previous battle, only Garp and Shanks took action. The two sank an island and then stopped. You are worthy of being a hero, Garp. Even at this age, his strength has not declined at all compared to when he was chasing Captain Roger. Shanks looked at the direction of Marine's retreat with a serious look on his face. There was a trace of doubt in his eyes that no one noticed. Why did Garp come to trouble him for no reason? Is it an order from the world government? Hey, no wonder they say, Marine Vice Admiral is Vice Admiral, and Garp is Garp. And he is Luffy's grandfather. Speaking of which, Luffy and my little brat have grown up. A man who looks somewhat similar to Usopp, he sighed softly. He is none other than Usopp's missing father, a senior cadre of the Red Hair Pirates, Usopp. Strangeness. Beckman took a puff of his cigar, his eyes twinkling. Even he didn't understand why Garp took action for no reason. Garp doesn't seem to be arresting us. It's more like venting his anger and leaving after beating him. Beckman thought. Shanks thought of the straw hat and the kid from Windmill Village, and said uncertainly, could something happen to Luffy? Usopp's words reminded him. Garp's behavior is more like a private behavior. That could only be because of Luffy. Luffy. No way. Lucky Lu was startled, with a confused expression. Something happened to Luffy, and Garp brought trouble to Shanks. Moreover, how many years had passed since they stopped at Windmill Village? Garp isn't just asking for trouble now, is he? Captain, perhaps there have been more large fleets recruited recently, which attracted Marine's attention, and Garp came here to cause trouble. Beckman said slowly. It was difficult for him to connect what happened today with Luffy. Shanks' eyes narrowed unconsciously as he recalled Garp's actions. There's no way Marine could officially take action against him. Even if he takes action, he will get the news in advance, so, the grudge against Garp is most likely a personal grudge and must be related to Luffy. Send someone to East Blue to inquire about Luffy. Shanks held the sword griffin on his waist with one hand and gave instructions calmly. The oncoming sea breeze blew his hair, revealing the scars at the corners of his eyes, adding a touch of hockey to this man in a black cloak. Understood, boss. Let me tell you, let's make a big fuss next, don't let Marine underestimate us. Shanks said expressionlessly. Since Marine struck first, he had to retaliate properly. Leave it to us, Captain. Oh, let's go, kids. Chapter 54 Kill Shanks. Naval Headquarters, Marineford. Bang bang bang. There was a furious banging of the table from the Marshal's office. What is Garp going to do? Who asked him to start a war with Shanks? This random guy is really pissing me off. Sengoku looked at the information in his hand, his brows trembling with anger. Because of the battle between Garp and Shanks, the large ship group affiliated with the Shanks pirates subsequently attacked 2 Marine branch bases, causing heavy losses to Marine. Several Marine patrol ships disappeared outside the red-haired territory area. And there are still signs of red-hair pirates gathering. Bulu bulu. Ha 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 ha. Sengoku, what's going on? The phone was answered, and Garp's careless voice came. Sengoku pounded the table angrily and roared. Garp. What did you do in New World? Who told you to declare war on Shanks? Didn't I ask you to go to the town and restrict the red hair? You didn't say anything. I thought you asked me to deal with Shanks. Deal with Shanks. You fought with him, why didn't you get rid of him? Instead, it triggered a counterattack from the Shanks pirates. They are already showing signs of starting a war. Sengoku said worriedly. I didn't expect that Shanks would grow up so fast. It would be difficult to deal with him for a while, and there is also the Deputy Captain Beckman. Even if I can defeat Shanks, I can't kill him. But now it's easy to deal with it. Since Shanks launched an attack on Marine, how can you tolerate it? You mobilize Kuzan, Porosalino, and Sakazuki, and I will lead them to destroy the Red Hair Pirates. Garp's voice came, and Sengoku was stunned. Transfer 3 admirals. Kill the Red Hair Pirates. Garp, don't mess with me, that's the 4 Emperors pirate group. Marine has managed to maintain the balance of the sea. If we attack the Red Hair now, Whitebeard, Kaido, and Big Mom will not be honest. Sengoku immediately denied Garp's proposal. This is simply not feasible. That's it. If we can't help it, we can ask Marshal Kong for reinforcements. Garp said unwillingly. Nonsense. Come back quickly, I'll let Porosalino handle this matter. Garp, I've said in advance that if you dare to do anything nonsense, don't blame me for being rude. And the 5 elders personally issued an order prohibiting any Red Hair pirates go to war. Sengoku warned. I know. Those old guys are here to get involved. On the Marine warship, Garp hung up the phone and looked a little regretful. The 5 elders have spoken, and the battle is unlikely to start. To be honest, Garp wanted to kill Shanks from the bottom of his heart. Shanks ate the devil fruit for Luffy, which simply pushed Luffy into an abyss from which he would never return. If it was a coincidence that Luffy ate the devil fruit, Garp doubted it was a coincidence. The fruit was stolen by Shanks from the world government. The escort team had just one devil fruit and was robbed. It seemed that Shanks was taking action just for this fruit. However, a fruit snatched like this can be placed casually in a tavern, where a child can easily eat it. Besides, did Shanks drink too much? How could he not notice Luffy's actions in such a big tavern? Is he plotting against Luffy or against me? The more Garp thought about it, the more he thought Shanks was not a good bird from beginning to end. It's just a pity that Shanks is worthy of Roger's former crew, and his current strength is worthy of the name of 4 emperors. He is so powerful that even Garp finds it difficult to fight. It's hard to say the final result. Besides, Shanks also has a crew of monsters. Therefore, just now Garp proposed to transfer Marine Admiral 3, but was rejected on the spot. Garp sighed, unable to fulfill his wish. Now, I hope Luo En can help Luffy grow up quickly and don't expose him. Moby Dick. Gula Lala, that old guy Garp can still fight. A heroic laugh erupted. The burly man with an intravenous tube inserted into his body put down the newspaper, picked up the huge wine bowl and drank it all in one gulp. He was in a very good mood. The strongest man in the world, Whitebeard. Dad, stop drinking, Marco urged anxiously and angrily. Gla la la la, the brat has really grown up, dares to take care of Lousy. But speaking of it, time flies so fast. The brats on Roger's ship have all become 4 emperors, and Lousy and Garp have become old guys. Whitebeard looked at the magnificent sea, his eyes showing reminiscence and nostalgia. Time flies so fast. As for the specific reason for the fight between Garp and Shanks, it has not been revealed, but the story of the fight between the two has formed a storm and spread rapidly on the sea. Kaido, Big Mom, Shichibukai and other forces all received the news one after another, which really caused an unknown shock. Even many forces in the New World began to prepare for action. Once a war breaks out between the Marines and the Red Hair Pirates, the other forces will definitely take advantage of the chaos to make a fortune. At this time, Luo En and his party did not know that such shocking news had happened to the outside world. They were on their way to the castle in Moria. Chapter 55 Luffy, Big Onion. Along the way, everyone eliminated many zombies. He almost reached the huge fortress unimpeded. Damn intruders, dare to break in here and disturb the master's rest. Get ready to turn into zombies. A roar suddenly erupted from the surroundings, and loud echoes echoed around, but the speaker could not be seen. Lousy Crocodile, get out of Moria. Crocodile observation hockey casts out a sharp and swift sand blade, slashing it out mercilessly. When a warrior zombie fell from the sky and blocked the sand blade. Behind the samurai zombie, a figure slowly appeared. A human man with the head of a lion. Absalom. Gecko Moria's subordinates, zombie soldiers and zombie general commanders. Those with the ability of the transparency fruit, transparent people, can make their bodies transparent, and can also make people and objects in contact with their bodies transparent. The lower jaw and nose were transplanted by Hogback, so they are essentially human and do not belong to the fur tribe. But his invisibility was noticed by Crocodile's sight. However, the moment Absalom appeared, Sanji's eyes burst into flames. He recognized the other party's ability. That's the devil fruit he's been dreaming of. Ah, you ruined my dream, Sanji wailed, as if his wife had been robbed, with deep sorrow on his face. Did that guy become invisible just now? Ace muttered, feeling a little strange. Why did Sanji react so much? Zoro was in no mood to pay attention to Sanji's changes, and his eyes fell on the zombie samurai's sword. Good knife, he praised. The samurai zombie is a zombie general under the jurisdiction of Absalom, from New World Wano Kuni. According to legend, the samurai who once killed the flying dragon has the shadow of the skeleton Brook in his body. The famous sword he holds is Autumn Water, one of the 21 items of great wealth. Immediately afterwards, Absalom summoned all the zombies, including 3 zombie generals, surrounding everyone. Crocodile, didn't you disappear in East Blue? Absalom looked confused. Crocodile is a Shichibukai after all. Marine immediately released the news after his disappearance. Moria and his men got the news, and now Crocodile has found his home. What does he want to do? Moria, get out of here lousy. Crocodile roared angrily, and a frantic dark golden sandstorm condensed on his arm, and he swung it out suddenly. Rumble, a huge sandstorm stuck to the ground and swept out, sucking in many zombies and directly clearing out the zombies in front of them. Crocodile's strength is about to surpass that of Admiral. Dealing with these minions is not a problem at all. It is almost a matter of waving a hand. The sandstorm was surrounding the zombies. Just when Crocodile was about to crush these guys, Luo En suddenly said, Lao Sha, don't be impulsive. I'll leave it for everyone to practice. Along the way, I encountered almost no enemies. Now I have 2 reasonable opponents, and zombie Ryoma is 1. Crocodile heard this and dismissed Sandstorm. Absalom's eyes widened. Are the zombies he summoned so weak? Without hesitation, he directly urged his zombies to set off the alarm in the castle. If you can't beat him, just shake him off, and Moria will have to deal with Crocodile himself. Zoro couldn't hold back the fighting factor in his body and killed the zombie dragon horse. The battle begins. At the same time, a huge banging sound came from the castle, accompanied by a tremor. Soon, a huge figure appeared in front of everyone. He has a hairstyle like a shallot, looks like a demon, has 2 horns on his forehead, pointed ears and teeth, has cross-shaped sutures from his head to his neck that resemble wounds, and wears a shirt with a bat-shaped collar and a Gothic-style artistic clothing. At nearly 7 meters tall, Moria is the tallest among the Shichibukai. Behind him were Princess Mononoke, Perona and Hogback. Hehehehe, Crocodile, do you dare to come to Lousy's territory to run wild? Moria laughed loudly, but there was still a look of surprise in his eyes. I got the news from Marine that Crocodile was missing. Why is he here now? Goohahaha. Moria, are you worthy of speaking in this tone in front of Lousy? Crocodile's eyes were full of fighting spirit, and the gravel around his body was flowing in layers. If they don't agree, they are ready to take action. Hey, Big Onion, let me defeat you. Luffy suddenly broke in between Crocodile and Moria, with more fighting spirit in his eyes than Crocodile. This time he won't give up his opponent to anyone else. Asshole, are you calling Lousy? Moria stared at Luffy with cold eyes. Big Onions. What the hell is this name? The majestic Shichibukai, Moonlight Moria, is called Big Onion. Not only Moria was confused, but Crocodile was also confused. Is Luffy so brave? Chapter 56 Turn on third gear. The atmosphere instantly became tense. That's right, I just want to knock you down. I'm Monkey D. Luffy, the man who wants to become the Pirate King. Luffy said seriously. Jehehehe, just you, One Piece. Moria's expression was full of mockery, and his eyes were filled with disdain. These days, every cat and dog wants to be the Pirate King. Leave it to you. Moria turned to the cadres around him and said. Master, don't worry, we will definitely deal with them and turn them into zombies who can never get out. Hogback said in a deep voice. Perona, who had pink twintails, a crown on her head, and a burgundy umbrella in her hand, was ready to take action. Ha 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 ha. Master, leave it to me to deal with these rude guys. The ghost of negativity. Her body split into a spiritual body, floating in midair, blocking everyone. At this time, both sides started to take action. Zoro just started fighting Ryoma zombies. Sanji was faster than Luffy and headed straight for Absalom, who ate the devil fruit he had dreamed of. Sanji was so angry. However, when the ghost passes through me, everything surrenders. The ghost of negativity passed through Sanji's body. As expected, he fell to his knees and murmured sadly and negatively, I am a waste. I am such a failure. Ace. When Luffy saw the ghost rushing towards him, he immediately punched him with his fist, but was also hit by the negative ghost. I'm really useless. Luffy, like Sanji, was kneeling on the ground muttering. Ace. What the hell is going on? Usopp and Nami stared at this scene, and they were greatly shocked. What kind of terrifying ability is this? Seeing this, Luo En shook his head helplessly, with a thought in his mind. A pair of arms suddenly grew on Perona's shoulders and instantly grabbed her neck. Luo En then said, take your ghost back, or die. Perona was sweating profusely and didn't even see the opponent take action. As a result, she had an extra arm on her shoulder. As the palm became harder and harder, Perona had to put away the ghost. Soon, Sanji and Luffy's negative effects were lifted. What happened just now? Sanji's head was a little short-circuited. Luffy, on the other hand, rushed towards Moria without saying a word. Crocodile also wanted to take action, but Luo En stopped him. It's okay, leave it to Luffy first. But the opponent is Moria after all, can Straw Hat do it? Crocodile asked doubtfully. With you and Ace in charge, give him a chance to practice. Luo En said. At the same time, he let go of Perona and told Usopp, go and catch her. Usopp doubted himself. Me? Luo En, are you kidding me? Luffy and Sanji are no match for her. That ghost-like thing is so scary. You are different. Believe in yourself. If you can't deal with her, I will throw you into the sea to feed the fish. Usopp shuddered. There was a wolf in front of him and a tiger in the back, and he was forced to go up the mountain. He plucked up the courage and stepped forward to confront Perona. On the other side, Moria also took action. Although he didn't know the purpose of Crocodile bringing these people here, he must have bad intentions for him, so he decided to make a quick decision to let them know how powerful he was. Moria had an extra pair of scissors in his hand, and summoned the shadows from the surrounding zombies to directly activate the Shadow Fruit ability on Luffy. Shadow Box. Countless shadows shot out from the surroundings, directly blocking Luffy in the air and trapping him firmly. Moria looked at Crocodile and sneered. Hehehehe, do you think such a reckless kid is Lousy's opponent? Crocodile, your shadow must be delicious. The ground shook as Moria strode towards Crocodile, wielding her scissors. At this moment, there was a strange movement in the shadow box. Second gear. Bang. Luffy directly turned on the second gear and exploded the shadow box. Escaped. Moria was startled for a moment, but then he reached out and grabbed Luffy's shadow. The scissors swung down and cut off Luffy's shadow. Luffy, what method is this? Ace is already ready to take action. Who knows if the shadow cutting will cause any harm to Luffy? Luo En reminded. Luffy, don't think so much, use your strongest attack. You only have one chance to attack, if you can't kill him, let Ace attack. Luffy's pressure suddenly doubled, but his eyes became more determined. Third gear. I saw him biting his thumb, taking a sharp breath, and then blowing all the air into his arm, which was growing crazily. Luffy has now developed the third gear. However, it is still very difficult to open the third gear now, but in order to test the results of practice, Luffy must take it out and give it a try. Moria's eyes widened when he saw the infinitely enlarged arm. Blow to change size. What kind of ability is this? Luffy's arm instantly became the same size as Moria's body, covered with armament hockey. Rubber rocket launcher. Chapter 57. The battle is over. Rubber rocket launcher. Following Luffy's voice, the two arms stretched back, pushed hard, and roared in the blink of an eye. Moria summoned shadows, opened the abyss's maw, and swallowed them all. After swallowing 500 shadows, his figure became even larger. Facing the third-speed rubber rocket launcher, he rushed forward arrogantly. At the same time, Moria's arms also wrapped around armament hockey. This was also what surprised him. He didn't expect Luffy to master armament hockey. Boom. The attacks of the two collided, making a strong sound, and then the two sides stood in a stalemate and competed with each other. The other side. Zoro and Ryoma deliver the final blow to the zombie outbreak. Revolutionary dance front dance. Three swordsman-style beautiful demon sleepless night ghost slaying. Shimotsuki Ryoma and Zoro explode at the same time. The sword light flashed and the figures intertwined. The two of them met each other in the air, and separated from each other with a crisp sound. Brook has been paying attention to the battle here, or in other words, he was about to take action at first, but was beaten to the punch by Zoro, who was delighted to see him. It's over. Brook murmured softly, not expecting the battle to end so quickly. Zoro slowly sheathed the sword, turned around and said regretfully, it's a pity that the duel is not at your peak strength, which is regrettable. There are indeed many regrettable things, but they are not important anymore. Shimotsuki Ryoma said in a hoarse voice. This piece of autumn water, don't bury him. Don't bury the famous sword Chu Shui, this is Longma's last advice. He noticed Zoro's interest in the knife at a glance, and Zoro defeated him, and he was willing to let Zoro take charge of the knife. Then, he threw the autumn water out, and his whole body began to turn into fly ash, which gradually dissipated. Thanks. Zoro reached out and took it, thanking him sincerely. At the same time, Brook's shadow in Ryoma returns to Brook's body. Yo-ho-ho-ho, the shadow is back. Brook felt more relaxed than ever before. The shadow is finally back. Ryoma, on the other hand, completely dissipated. In this battle, Zoro still didn't show his full strength. When the battle here is over, the rest of the battles are about the same. Absalom was beaten badly by Sanji. As for Perona, it's broken. The negative ghost he cast had no effect on this long-nosed boy. What kind of monster is this? An indelible shadow was left in the girl's heart. As for Hogubik, his strength is really poor. The main battle, our focus, is the battle between Luffy and Moria. He, little ghost head, you are still quite the pirate king. Why don't you become Lousy's zombie? Moria even turned on the taunting mode. The stimulated Luffy gritted his teeth, and the power in his body surged crazily. He suddenly broke out again. Bang! The two huge arms suddenly exerted force and directly blasted Moria's huge body away. Boom! Moria bumped into the wall of the castle with a stunned expression. He didn't expect that he was no match for such a brat. However, Luffy's situation is not good either. My whole body began to deflate, flying randomly like a balloon. Luo En stretched out his arms, grabbed Luffy, and pulled him down from the sky. The backlash after being enlarged turned Luffy into a miniature version of a cute little person, and he was still in a state of death strength. Luffy, are you okay? Ace looked at the mini Luffy in front of him, his eyes widened. Oh, I'm so tired. Mini Luffy lowered his head, stuck out his tongue, and spoke forcefully. Luo En comforted. Don't worry, the explosion is too big, just rest for a while. Which one of you will come next? Luo En turned to look at Ace, then turned to look at Crocodile. I come. Ace's arm instantly burned with golden flames. If he dares to bully his younger brother, he will get the situation back. Crocodile took a puff of his cigar and said in a deep voice, Ace, let me do it. If you want him to join the gang, I must be more convincing. Ace was startled and turned to look at Luo En, who nodded slightly. Crocodile slowly walked towards Mori. Luo En stared at Crocodile's back and was really surprised. Because Crocodile actually saw that Luo En wanted to recruit Moria. I have to say that Crocodile is definitely not a simple person. Having him by his side is definitely a big help. Luo En thought silently in his heart. Compared with Moria, Lao Sha is more reliable. Quote. There is also the problem of Luffy. If every time Nika breaks out, Luffy's lifespan is lost, this problem must be solved. I don't know much about Op Fruit's immortality surgery, but Vampire Fruit can. It seems that it will be necessary in the future find a way to go to Sleeping Town to find the Vampire Fruit, and find a suitable person to eat it to replenish Luffy's vitality. Luo En was planning silently in his mind. It not only replenishes Luffy's vitality, but also provides him with a backup plan in case of emergency. As for the next battle between Crocodile and Moria, there is no suspense. But as for how to make Moria surrender, there is still a problem. Chapter 58 Crocodile's instant kill. Moria was knocked back by Luffy's attack and hit the castle. A lot of shadows came out of his stomach, and Luffy's shadow also returned to Luffy's body. Damn bastard. Moria steadied himself and cursed in a low voice. I didn't expect this kid to be unexpectedly powerful. It seemed a bit inappropriate for his age. That weird rubber ability can be so powerful. How can it be? Moria couldn't believe it, but then his eyes narrowed and he saw Crocodile walking towards him. He, Crocodile, your subordinates are no longer good and you are here again. If you don't do good Shichibukai, are you now preparing to go to sea again? Moria was greatly relieved after seeing Luffy shrink and lose his combat power. Tone, and then mocked Crocodile. Looking at the entire Shichibukai, Moria and Crocodile are the losers, hiding in the front half of the Grand Line and not daring to set foot in the New World. Lousy did fail, but it's different now. Moria, you are too weak in front of Lousy. Moreover, they are not Lousy's men, but Lousy's partners. It was Lousy who joined them. Crocodile sucked cigar, squinting his eyes slightly, the dark gold sand slowly flowing under his feet, gradually turning the surroundings into a desert. Weak. Stop talking arrogantly here. As a Shichibukai, you actually joined another pirate group and still have the dignity to stand in front of Lousy. Partners. These brats are what they call partners. Old Crocodile, your vision is getting worse and worse. Moria was ridiculed outright, as if his tail had been stepped on, and he roared hysterically. But they were the ones who defeated your men. Crocodile mocked calmly. The facts are before us. Moria's men were all defeated. This taunt left Moria speechless, and his face became angrier. Then I'll kill you all. Try it. Crocodile's lower body suddenly turned into quicksand, and he rushed forward quickly, his eyes becoming particularly sharp. Shadow Mage. Moria opened his hands and summoned a shadow identical to his own, which leapt towards Crocodile. Shadow Gun. At the same time, he used his shadow to condense several shadow spears and shot them out. What's even more terrifying is that he also swallowed a full 1,000 shadows in an instant and directly activated his most powerful combat form. Crocodile was using his methods one after another, but Crocodile didn't pay attention. With a wave of his palm, a flow of dark golden sand that shone with dark light came out, turning into a tornado-like storm that slowly entangled the Shadow Mage and finally trapped him. No matter how much the Shadow Mage struggled, he could not break free from the siege of the sand. Shadow Mage is a very powerful method of Moria. The Shadow summoned has extremely strong defense. Crocodile is not interested in it. He just wants to kill Moria. Faced with several shadow guns blasting in front of him, Crocodile didn't even blink and simply avoided them with his elemental form. Go to hell, Moria roared, wrapping his arms around armament hockey and blasting towards Crocodile. But his huge body ignored the changes on the ground. At some point, the gravel behind him silently filled Moria's feet. The moment he moved, the dark gold sand devouring sand, under the control of Crocodile, wrapped around his legs with incomparable precision, causing him to move. Staggering, he actually fell forward. Puff. The huge body fell into the quicksand, and several escaping shadows filled the air. Moria was so shocked that he quickly reached out to cover himself to prevent more shadows from escaping. Seeing this, Crocodile stopped what he was doing. He really didn't expect that after so many years, Moria's strength would actually decline to such an extent. The dark golden sand covered Moria layer by layer, trying to swallow him up. After reacting, Moria was covered in armed colors and fought against the dark gold devouring sand. Chihehehe, Crocodile, do you really think Lousy is a brat who doesn't know how to armament hockey? Now let's see what else you can do. Moria sneered, unaware of the approaching danger. Madness. Crocodile shook his head and whispered 2 words. Immediately afterwards, dark gold devouring sand erupted. The powerful swallowing effect absorbs all the surrounding moisture. Even if Moria wraps around armament hockey, he can still feel the loss of water in his body, and the feeling of exhaustion is even stronger. What kind of ability is this? Moria's eyes widened, completely panicked, and his eyes revealed infinite fear. Now, he suddenly has no power to fight back. How can Crocodile be so strong? What's going on with his abilities? Moria's mind was filled with questions. In a few breaths, Moria's figure shrank severely. Fortunately, Crocodile spared his hand and did not directly turn him into a mummy, but only made him lose his fighting ability. Master, Absalom exclaimed. Master, don't die. Perona started crying. They had never seen Moria in such miserable condition. When did you become so strong? The arrogance in Moria's eyes disappeared, full of shock and loneliness, and he stared at Crocodile in front of him. Because of him, Captain Lousy. Crocodile took a step back. And a young man just crossed Crocodile and appeared in Moria's sight with a smile. Chapter 59 Shadow. Invisible. Ghost. Open black lens bracket. Ask for flowers. Close black lens bracket. Let me introduce myself. I am the captain of the Spade Pirates, Luo En. Lao Sha is my partner. Luo En said with a smile, but his body slowly released an aura as powerful as a beast, shocking Moria. Crocodile felt extremely comfortable hearing the word, partner. Luo En's smile slowly faded, and his face became serious. Now, I'll give you a chance to choose. Do you want to join us? I can give you strength and even help you return to the new world and occupy a place. Of course, even if you refuse, I will only kill you, not them. Luo En pointed to Perona and others. Conquerors. Mariah's pupils trembled, and his expression was extremely shocked. He actually awakened Conqueror's Haki. Besides me, there are 2 other people on our ship who have also awakened Conqueror's Haki. Luo En's tone returned to a relaxed tone and he said casually. Moria was silent. 3 Conqueror's Haki on 1 ship. There's also the addition of Crocodile. Who are they? Luo En's recruitment is obvious. Give conditions and show the strength of your team. Mariah is not a fool. Even a ruthless character like Crocodile chooses to surrender. It can be seen that the young man in front of him is definitely pretending to be a pig and eating the tiger. Moreover, Moria's biggest fondness for Luo En is that he just said that even if he did not surrender, even if he killed himself, he would not kill his men. This was the point that Moria was poked at. He is very emotional and even broke into Blackbeard's base camp alone for Absalom. Perhaps now, there is no other choice. Moria smiled bitterly. He didn't expect that after decades of wandering in the sea, he could even be Kaido's opponent when he was young, but now he would surrender to someone else. Open black lens bracket ding. Successfully recruited S-class crew, Moonlight Moria. Open black lens bracket current, 12/20ths close black lens bracket. A very satisfactory answer, you won't regret it. Luo En smiled mysteriously. Then someone was asked to bring water to help Mariah recover. A man who knows the current situation is a hero, and Mariah, who recovered, did not choose to go back on his word. What do you need me to do? Mariah breathed heavily and got straight to the point. Luo En smiled slightly. With your current strength, what can you do? Moria was speechless. You can continue to do your Shichibukai. If anything happens, I will naturally come to you. Moreover, we will arrive in New World. Then I will let Lao Sha develop his power alone. If possible, you can also go to New World to develop and take care of each other. After all, your enemies should all be in the New World, right? Luo En said with a smile, without putting too much pressure on Moria. To New World. Moria was startled, and then said with a lonely expression, that's where monsters gather. The implication is that he has lost confidence in himself. Ha ha ha, since I have chosen you, then I will help you. Luo En comforted confidently, and then summoned the Universal Training Chamber from the tattoo on his wrist. Later, he introduced the effect of the Universal Training Chamber, and Moria was amazed and seriously doubted it. Perona and others gathered around, but they were afraid of coming into contact with Luo En. The best way to eliminate doubts is to try it yourself. Moria enters the Universal Training Warehouse. Strange to say, the Universal Training Warehouse is only 5 meters high, but when Mariah miraculously walked in another spot, Luo En let Perona in. Hogbark's strength was too weak and he did not sue for peace with Luo En at all, but the abilities of Absalom and Puro were surrendered by Moria and sue for peace with Luo En. Invisible, Ghost, and the Shadow of Moria. Luo En quietly mastered 3 devil fruit abilities. Moreover, Moria's strength will definitely trigger rewards after entering. I believe the final result will not disappoint everyone. An hour passed very quickly. The portal opened, and Perona jumped out. Her face with exquisite makeup was full of excitement and joy. There is such a magical thing. It turns out that this is why you are so powerful. No, we are strong because we should be strong. Luo En said with a smile. The little Lolita, who was originally in a good mood, immediately wilted when she saw Luo En, and hid in the back in a panic. The scene where Luo En directly summoned his arm and almost killed Perona left an indelible shadow on the little girl. Luo En. Is Lousy so scary? Meanwhile, Mariah stepped out. Chihehehe. Luo En. Lousy has decided to follow you. You are Lousy's benefactor. New World. Lousy will be back soon. The arrogant laughter was undisguised. It had only been an hour outside, but Mariah became confident when he came out again, and his aura became much more stable. Hey, is it necessary to be so exaggerated? Crocodile muttered with an unhappy look on his face. Chihehehe. Old Crocodile, Lousy finally knows what your ability is. After Moria came out, everyone could feel his excitement. Crocodile looked startled and asked in surprise, has your ability also changed? That's right. Jehehehe. Chapter 60 Shadow Evolution. Breakthrough Admiral. After hearing the news, the members of the Spade Pirates couldn't sit still. They haven't seen any changes after using it for so long. Why did this guy's ability change after only using it once? We are all our own people, tell me how you feel. Luo En looked at everyone with curious faces and said to Mariah. Moria was in a state of excitement. Even if Luo En didn't say anything, he still had to show off, especially to Crocodile. After entering, there were voices around me telling me that the fruit's ability has changed. The shadow fruit now has an extra ability. It can directly summon 9 kinds of shadow soldiers. Moria laughed proudly, not waiting for others to ask questions. He explained to himself. The summoned shadow is completely free from the restrictions of shadow. It can fight alone and can be used by me like an ordinary shadow. As he spoke, shadows floated around him, and 9 shadow warriors of different shapes appeared. Luo En's eyes narrowed at that time, and he exclaimed repeatedly in his heart, "Oh my god! Isn't this the shadow summoned by the ghost mask?" On the basis of the shadow fruit, the ability of the ghost mask is integrated, which is really a match. Pincer-shaped ghosts, mantis-shaped ghosts, small ghosts, giant ghosts, armored warrior ghosts, bat ghosts. A total of 9 shadows of different shapes were summoned by Moria. So cool. Wow, these shadows look so cool. Luffy and Chopper's eyes lit up, and they were full of curiosity about the shadow. In this way, wouldn't it be possible to create a shadow army? Ace looked at the shadow carefully and said in surprise. It would be terrifying if shadows could be summoned endlessly. Oh, it's a pity that each form of shadow can only summon 100, and summoning requires stamina. Moria sighed and pointed out the disadvantages. 900 shadow warriors are terrifying. Ace nodded in agreement. Luo En, no matter what, you will be Captain Lousy from now on. Damn Shichibukai, it's not interesting at all. Moria was completely convinced. The evolution of the fruit's ability has given Moria confidence, and practice can speed up the practice time, which is terrible. With this method, everyone in this pirate group will have great success in the future. Moria, very wisely, chose to hug his thigh, and the resistance he had when he surrendered completely disappeared. Be particular. Luo En gave Moria a thumbs up, and then appointed. Moria, from now on you will be the captain of the 2nd Division of the Spade Pirates. Command your men and the Shadow Army, and wait until New World. I hope you can show your talents. Captain. He. Captain, don't worry, I will definitely be no worse than this old crocodile. Moria assured, patting his chest, his huge body making a rumbling sound. Crocodile looked unhappy. Hey, do you think you can beat Lousy with those few shadows? Try it if you have the ability. Moria was not convinced at all. I was beaten just now, so I was careless and didn't dodge. Stop. It's a day worth celebrating. Let's hold a banquet and let's talk about fights and stuff tomorrow. Luo En quickly stepped forward to break up the fight. He finally saw that Crocodile and Moria were not going to deal with them at all. Not an enemy relationship, but an enemy relationship, similar to Zoro and Sanji. The pirate group will never be clean from now on, Luo En added silently in his heart. Banquet. There's meat to eat. Luffy's eyes lit up. It's been a long time since I had a good drink. Zoro stretched his shoulders and smiled on his face. It really fulfilled what Usopp said. The beautiful swordsman came with wine. In one sentence, the 3 main forces of Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji can be eliminated. With one more Perona, Sanji will only be busier. Everyone held a grand banquet happily. Luo En stayed at the Thriller Bark for 3 days, and then chose to go retrograde and set off for the capital of 7 Waters. Moria did not accompany him because the goal was too obvious, so Luo En asked him to set off to the New World together while waiting for them to return. But if you take Perona with you, there must be a hostage. In the past 3 days, Moria's strength has grown rapidly, and the ability of the Shadow Fruit has also been developed more powerfully, but there is still a gap between Admiral's strength. The most important thing is that Ace and Crocodile successfully broke through the Admiral's strength after hard training. Open black lens bracket crew. Ace close black lens bracket. Pirates. Spades Pirates. Ability. Open black lens bracket Logia Mera Mera Fruit exploding red flame close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Conqueror's Hockey LV7 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Amament Hockey LV8 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Observation Hockey LV7 close black lens bracket. Taijutsu LV9. Strengthen the 6 postures. Strength. Initial Admiral. When the fruit evolved, it fed back a lot of energy to Ace. Coupled with the hard work during this period, he finally reached the Admiral level of strength. Now Ace can initially start to dominate. Open black lens bracket crew. Sir Crocodile close black lens bracket. Pirates. Spades Pirates. Ability. Open black lens bracket Logia Sand Fruit Dark Gold Swallowing Sand close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Amament Hockey LV8 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Observation Hockey LV7 close black lens bracket. Taijutsu LV9. Strength. Initial Admiral. Compared to Ace, Crocodile lacks Conqueror's Hockey, but his strength is officially at Admiral level. Chapter 61 Loli comes on board. Zoro boost. The day after leaving Thriller Bark. The vision is bright and cloudless. The Spade pirate ship was sailing on the sea, and everyone on the ship was doing their own things, leisurely and comfortable. Usopp practiced his sniper skills hard on the sea, and his target was a ghost that only floated on the sea. Is Perona's ability. At the same time, Perona pouted and controlled a negative ghost to shuttle back and forth through Usopp's body. She really couldn't believe that there were people who could not be affected by negative ghosts. Who is this damn person? Ha! Luo En stretched out on the lounge chair under the umbrella on the deck. Looking at this scene, he said, Perona, bring me a cup of coffee. Don't order me. Why are you not drinking tea or coffee? You are still ordering this princess, don't you have any hands? Why don't you take it yourself? Perona pouted and drifted over with reluctance. Although she was mumbling, she still dared not disobey orders. After Perona got on the ship, she had a good relationship with everyone, except for Luo En. Maybe after everyone became familiar with her, she was not so afraid of Luo En. She often opposed Luo En and even tried to use negative ghosts to mess with Luo En. Then he was punished by Luo En, who served him tea and water. After a while, Perona came out holding a pink umbrella in one hand and coffee in the other. She handed the coffee to Luo En with a sly smile on her lips. Luo En saw all her little thoughts and did not take the coffee. She shook her head and said helplessly. You really don't remember to hit me. As Luo En finished speaking, an arm sprouted from Perona's waist and smacked downwards. Snapped. A crisp sound. Perona's ears immediately turned red after being attacked, and she immediately pretended to be vicious and bared her teeth at Luo En. You actually hit me. Negative ghost, attack him. The little loli looked very angry. Change a cup of coffee, and if you dare to add anything, I'll spank your butt into 8 pieces. Luo En said lightly, looking indifferent. Ooh, Sir Moria, I miss the old days so much, the little loli cried and went to pour out the cup of coffee with super laxatives and prepare it again. He, Luo En, stop bullying her. Robin was reading the newspaper and couldn't stand it anymore, so he couldn't help but persuade him. Luo En waved his hand and said helplessly, this little girl is rebellious. What she just added was a super strong laxative. The dose she added can't even make an elephant walk. Hearing this, Robin covered his mouth and shook his head with a smile. Luo En also found it more interesting. There was a lowly rebel on board who dared to challenge him, which really made it a lot more fun. At this moment, Zoro walked out of the training room. Luo En, I got a reward. Zoro couldn't wait to share the joy. What? The green algae head got a reward. Sanji rushed out of the cabin with a bang. He looked very unhappy. Could it be that the green algae head had surpassed him? Sexy cook. Now I can teach you a lesson with just one hand. Zoro said happily. Come and try it. Sanji heard this and his eyes burned with fire. Seeing that the two were about to start fighting, Luo En quickly stopped. Stop. The personal grievances will be resolved later. Zoro, please explain in detail first. Wado Ikimonji evolved into the supreme knife. Third generation Kidetsu and Yukizuki merged to form a new sword, and its strength is not weaker than the supreme knife. Zoro patted the sword on his waist, and his face unstoppable joy. Weapon rewards. Ace and Crocodile came over, and the former asked curiously. No, Zoro, it feels like your aura has become much stronger. If it were just a weapon, it shouldn't have such a change, right? Zoro then explained. The flow of time in the training chamber increased tenfold. Increased time flow rate 10 times. Everyone was stunned, almost counting the time subconsciously. No, there is such a good thing. Doesn't it mean that you have been practicing for 5 months in just 1 hour? Usopp clasped his fingers with a shocked expression. 1 hour is equivalent to 15 days. If it increases 10 times again, 1 hour will pass 150 days. The results of 5 months of practice. Zoro's reward once again shocked everyone. If you don't have the fruit ability, you'll have to make up for it with time. When Ace, Crocodile and others received rewards, after the fruit abilities evolved, a powerful energy fed back to themselves. This was the main reason why they became stronger quickly, and now Zoro has directly added time. Damn it. Sanji stomped his feet angrily, but was overtaken by this green algae head. It was all because he got on the boat too late. Luo En took the coffee from Perona and asked with a smile, how do you feel? I really want to have a hearty and real battle. Zoro smiled coolly, his face full of confidence. He said this, but the opponent he wanted to meet the most was still that man. The world's best swordsman, Hawkeye. Chapter 62 Monster Level Strength. However, just after Zoro announced the good news, Luffy also rushed out of the training room. Everyone, I've become stronger. Ha 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 ha. Luffy laughed heartily, and there seemed to be an unnoticed infectiousness in that laughter. Luffy, did you get a reward too? Sanji turned to look at Luffy in disbelief. Why did all my good brothers abandon me in one day? Watching his good brothers become stronger and surpass him one by one, it was simply more uncomfortable than killing himself. Sanji felt pain in his heart, but he couldn't express the pain. Is it a reward? It should be considered it. I have developed to the 4th level. And it seems that there is a stronger form, let's call it the 5th level, but it still requires practice to reach it. Luffy looked extremely serious, he waved his fist confidently. Sooner or later he will reach a stronger state. Then go recruit your own partners. Everyone looked confused. The 4th gear has come out, you think there is a stronger form. Damn it, is rubber fruit so busy now? Ace's eyes showed a shock different from others. From the beginning, Luo En told him that Luffy's devil fruit is not a rubber fruit, but the human fruit, phantom beast species, and Nika form. Now it seems that Luffy's devil fruit does not look like an ordinary rubber fruit. Sun God, Nika form. That's such nonsense. Ace murmured softly in his heart. He had mixed feelings in his heart. Everything Luo En once said has been verified one by one. Everything he did, including the people he recruited on board, seemed to be planned and carried out in an orderly manner. Now even Luffy's fruit ability has been confirmed. The absolute good news is, Sabo is alive. Bad news, Luffy is going to have problems. Ace felt unhappy for a moment and remained silent. Usopp and Chopper were discussing excitedly, wanting to see Luffy's new form. Luo En frowned and said, Luffy, you only developed it to the 4th gear. Nothing else. What is the reward for developing to level 4? This is something that Luffy has come naturally to. Even if Luffy now directly says that he has become the Sun God, Luo En can accept it, but the result is only the 4th gear. The Universal Training Chamber wouldn't be so ironic, would it? Luffy scratched his hair with his fingers, looking like he was trying to think back, and then said uncertainly, it seems that there was something about giving life. I was so excited at the time that I forgot what the voice said. Luffy tilted his head, showing a naturally dumb look. Luo En, are you being cute about such an important thing? Life-giving. If this is the case, it makes sense. Luffy's biggest gain should be that the problem of lifespan consumption is no longer a problem. Luo En was greatly relieved. Can he just sit back and wait for the Sun God now? Previously, because the 2nd gear seemed to consume life, Luo En never used this ability even though he had mastered it. From now on, it is estimated that only the 5th level of Sun God state will be available. Don't worry, it's not a bad thing. Luo En waved his hand and signaled Luffy not to think about it. There was no need to waste a few brain cells. Luffy and Zoro further stimulated the others and started practicing. Involution is really scary. Luo En was minding his own business looking at the updated panel. Crew. Zoro. Pirates. Spades Pirates. Weapons. Wado Ikimonji, Supreme Sharp Sword Kitetsu, Shisui. Ability. Open black lens bracket Amament Hockey, LV7, close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Observation Hockey, LV7, close black lens bracket. Physical Arts, LV7. Swordsmanship, LV8. Open black lens bracket Strength. Vice Admiral close black lens bracket. Crew. Luffy. Pirates. Spades Pirates. Ability. Renren Fruit Phantom Beast Species Nika Form, 4th level. Life-giving. Fruit ability has no life loss. Open black lens bracket Conqueror's Hockey, LV6 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Amament Hockey, LV8 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Observation Hockey, LV7 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Physical Skills, LV8 close black lens bracket. Strength. Admiral Candidate. It has to be said that the Sun God is the Sun God, and Luffy is now stronger than Zoro. The main reason is that Zoro has improved through training, while Luffy is unreasonable and just cheats. Of course, no one is as bad as Luo En. Because of Luo En's strength, he broke through again. Open black lens bracket Host. Luo En close black lens bracket. Pirates. Spades Pirates. Crew. Gal D. Ace. Monkey D. Luffy. Roronoa Zoro. Usopp. Nami. Sanji. Dory Giant. Brigitte Giant Robin. Crocodile. Brook. Moonlight Moria. Perona. Absalom. Close black lens bracket. Ability. Open black lens bracket Giving Life close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Logia Mera Mera Fruit Exploding Red Flame close black lens bracket. Renren Fruit Phantom Beast Species Nika Form Unawakened. Open black lens bracket Logia Sand Sand Fruit Dark Gold Swallowing Sand close black lens bracket. Paramesha Shadow Fruit Endless Phantom. Open black lens bracket Paramesha Flower Flower Fruit close black lens bracket. Yellow Spring Fruit. Transparent Fruit. Ghost Fruit. Open black lens bracket Conqueror's Hockey, LV9 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Armament Hockey, LV9 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Observation Hockey, LV9 close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Physical Skills, LV10 close black lens bracket. Swordsmanship, LV8. Strengthening 6 forms, LV9. Kicking skills, sniping skills, cooking skills, navigation skills. Strength. Monster level. Chapter 63 Everyone is exposed. World government encircles and suppresses. Luo En. Monster level strength. Moria. Brook and others join in. Ace. Crocodile's breakthrough. Luffy and Zoro's promotion. With improvements in all aspects, Luo En has finally reached monster level strength. And his current abilities are not without luxury. Mera Mera Fruit. Sand Sand Fruit. Flower Flower Fruit. Shadow Fruit, etc. There are so many abilities that even Luo En may not be able to use them. Even the strength of the 3 cadres led by Crocodile has reached the summation standard, and their fruitful abilities are also summed up in Luo En. With a physical skill breakthrough of LV10, Hockey LV9, and numerous devil fruit abilities, the strength Luo En can bring out in battle must not be limited to appearances. The effect of combining various abilities changes rapidly and is difficult to predict. Unless you can see a future farther than Luo En. As his strength improved, Luo En became more cautious. Go, play to ultimate. The standard he set for himself. If you don't become a god, don't take action. The previous situation may have been a bit special, and Luo En had to take action. But now, Crocodile and Ace are both Admiral, Luffy, Zoro, and Moria are almost there, and Sanji, Brook, Robin, Usopp, Robin, Nami, and Chopper are all close to reaching the reward standard and will be greatly improved again. It is understandable to say that the member configuration at this time is comparable to the Four Emperors group. However, Luo En knows that even a tree as beautiful as Lin Feng will be destroyed, and a strong person like Whitebeard will also die one day, so he still has to endure. Luo En is still thinking about Whitebeard and Garp. Garp only needs to use the Universal Training Chamber 2 more times, and Luo En can sum up his strength. As for Whitebeard, Luo En was very eager at first, but after experiencing so much, that desire gradually faded. When he stood on a high place and looked at others, he suddenly felt that the existence he once looked up to was just like that. The destination of everyone's trip is naturally the capital of Seven Waters. After Luo En inquired about the location of Frankie family, he arrived there directly. Frankie's strength left no room for resistance. Moreover, Frankie's story was even more twists and turns. Luo En talked with him alone for more than 2 hours. In the end, Frankie resolutely decided to join the Spade Pirates and work hard to build the world's #1 pirate battleship. Notice, it's a battleship. It's not just a pirate ship. Everyone held a social gathering. Only Luo En and Frankie the cat were in the house, discussing the shipbuilding plan. No, how much material is needed for such a large hull? Besides, a keel that meets the conditions cannot be found at all. Even if it is found, it will not be able to support the longitudinal bending moment. What? Adam made the materials. Are you crazy? Where can you get materials for such a big treasure tree, Adam? You have to cut down the Adam tree. You still want the ship to fly. I can get the power, but how can it fly for a long time? Propeller. Steam engine. Is it really a boat you want to build? Impossible. I can't do it. That won't work either. The room was filled with the voices of Frankie's rejection. The shipbuilding idea proposed by Luo En simply overturned his knowledge and his many years of shipbuilding experience. Frankie's manufacturing idea was already crazy enough, but it was subverted by Luo En. He now regrets joining the pirate ship because he couldn't meet the conditions Luo En asked. Okay, I'll take a step back. Let's get some materials on Baoshu Adam first, and then we'll study it. Luo En shook his head with a headache. Damn it, if you want to build a peerless battleship, I'm afraid Frankie's efforts alone are a little sloppy. Why not find a way to grab Vegapunk? Luo En had a different thought in his heart. Adam Baoshu, there should be some in the auction, but it's very expensive. Frankie spread his hands, looking helpless. He had no money. Money is not an issue. Get some materials first and build a smaller ship, just as an experiment and practice. Don't worry about Baoshu Adam, I have people in Elbaf who can definitely get it. Luo En assured, patting his chest. Brigitte and Dory didn't get to know each other for nothing. Frankie sighed deeply. It's not that he doubted Luo En, but that if he wanted to build a battleship that met Luo En's expectations, the treasure tree Adam needed was not random. Unless the precious tree Adam was planted by your own father, that is possible. But Frankie didn't dare to say this out loud for fear of getting beaten. Frankie looked around cautiously, then leaned close to Luo En and whispered, when is the right time to take action? Luo En rubbed his chin and thought, try to build the ship, and then kill them and we will set off directly. Also, remember to remind your senior brother to be careful at all times, because no one can say whether there will be a world government in the future. What means? Frankie nodded heavily. The next day, they went to the auction to buy the materials for the treasure tree Adam. After returning, Frankie used the Universal Training Warehouse to start building a ship, and also learned shipbuilding techniques there. As for Robin, Luo En never let her leave to avoid being exposed. However, there are still unforeseen circumstances. News that Frankie purchased Baoshu Adam spread, attracting the attention of CP9 hidden agent Lu Chi. CP9 secretly investigates Frankie's family territory. The owner of the gate fruit, Bluno, used the fruit's power to secretly monitor everyone for a day and discovered everyone. Son of the devil. Nico Robin. Celestial dragons wanted. Luo En. Disappeared Shichibukai. Crocodile. Luki reported this matter immediately. Spandam led the fleet to arrive and met Luki. People who arrived at the same time also included Marine Admiral Aokiji. And they didn't know how to contact Robin. The third day of the fermentation of the incident. With the efforts of Frankie's family and Frankie's overtime work in the Universal Training Warehouse, the new pirate ship has been almost built and can meet the requirements for going to sea. Luo En prepares to go to sea the next day. That night, Robin left quietly. Spandam's office. Robin stood in the middle with an expressionless face and said coldly. I agree to your terms and go with you, but don't forget your promise to let them all go. Robin felt inexplicably nervous at this time, because in front of her were not only Spandam and CP9, but also a tall man with an eye patch on his forehead, Marine Admiral Aokiji. Aokiji received orders to cooperate with all Spandam's actions. Arrest Crocodile. Execution of Luo En. Aokiji's eyes were calm, and his body exuded a faint chill. He looked at Robin slightly, but he didn't say a word from beginning to end. No one knew what he was thinking. And Robin was a little anxious. The scene at this time was completely different from what he planned. Aokiji, why is he here? Ha 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 ha. Nico Robin, you're finally in my hands. Spandam laughed wildly, his eyes full of cruelty and disdain, and said sarcastically, Originally, Laozi was in a good mood and was ready to let them go, but there was a guy among them who was wanted by the celestial dragons himself. Seize your credit for killing the wanted criminal. If we can get Pluton design drawings again, Laozi's future will be bright. Ha 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 ha. Upon hearing this, Robin's pupils shrank sharply. What do you mean? What do you mean? Spandam played with the elephant sword in his hand and said with a cruel face, the 500 world government elites brought by Laozi have now surrounded your gathering place. As long as Laozi gives an order, the place will be razed by artillery fire. Ping D, none of your accomplices can escape. Ha 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 ha. Upon hearing this, Robin's dark eyes flickered slightly, and he secretly cursed Spandam for being despicable. Despicable bastard. You deserve to die. Robin's hands clenched into fists at some point, and his beautiful face became a little more angry. Spandam's despicableness succeeded in irritating Robin. Moreover, Spandam wanted to kill Luo En and his group, which would touch Robin's bottom line. Robin really wanted to kill this ugly guy, but there was a man who frightened her standing behind the table, and she secretly screamed that something was wrong. Today's action plan is going to change. There were still several figures standing in the room. Rob Lucci, Kaku, Jabra, Bluno, Kumadori, Otonashi Fukuro, Khalifa. All members of the CP9 organization gathered together. And they were supposed to be the target of the Spade Pirates tonight, but an unexpected change occurred on the other side, Aokiji. At this time, Lucci looked up at the time with an expressionless face and said, Sir, the time has come. It's time to give the order to attack. Ha 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 ha. Okay. Inform them to take action. Now go find Bingshan and make him hand over the Pluton design drawings no matter what. Spandam smiled coldly, imagining the scene of his future promotion in his mind, with a look of infatuation on his face. Drunk look. Arresting Robin, killing Luo En, and snatching the Pluton blueprints was a perfect plan. Spandam was immersed in his own fantasy. At the same time, Robin's legs were quietly wrapped with a layer of fine dark golden gravel. Aokiji's eyes moved slightly, and he suddenly noticed something was wrong, but when he was about to speak, Robin spoke. What a shame, your plan is going to fail. Robin narrowed his eyes and said coldly. What did you say? Spandam's dark eyes fell on Robin, and he shouted sternly, You are now in Laozi's hands. Dare you say that Laozi's plan will not succeed? Go and shut her mouth for Laozi. In the second half of the sentence, Spandam said to Lucci and others. Robin suddenly raised her head and looked in Aokiji's direction. This was the first time she looked at Aokiji tonight. There was no emotion in Aokiji's calm eyes. However, Aokiji was slightly aware that coldness began to fill his palms at some point. Robin didn't hesitate at all. The moment he raised his head, he quickly backed away and rushed towards the door. Want to run? When Lucci saw Robin's move, his figure flashed, and he appeared behind Robin very quickly, his palm turned into a leopard claw, and he slapped it hard. Robin turned a blind eye to the attacks from behind. Just when she was about to be severely injured, a familiar voice from Robin suddenly came from outside the door. Fire punch. The blazing golden flame instantly melted the door and shone on everyone's faces. Chapter 64 Buster Call. Launch. Open black lens bracket please order first close black lens bracket. Fire punch. The blazing golden flame instantly melted the door and shone on everyone's faces. Spandam's eyes widened in shock. Extreme surprise appeared on Lucci's face. There were waves in Aokiji's eyes. All are particularly obvious under the shining of golden flames. A layer of fine dark golden gravel was wrapped around Robin's feet at some point. Like a golden bell, it instantly covered Robin's body and protected her within it. The power of the fire fist exploded. Robin was tightly protected by the dark gold devouring sand and could not be attacked at all. However, Lucci, who was unable to react in time, was violently blown away by the explosive power contained in the golden flames. Bang! The tyrannical force caused him to fly backwards, and his body hit the wall hard, causing a crack as fine as a spider web. Lucci fell to the ground, his arm that blocked the flames and his clothes were burned, and there was a burnt wound on his arm. He was injured after just one encounter, and he looked a little embarrassed. Who? Spandam had a ferocious look on his face and shouted loudly, showing off his imposing manner. Aokiji frowned and murmured in confusion. When did it appear? He didn't even notice the person outside the door, it seemed like he had just appeared suddenly. What he did just now was because he noticed the dark golden gravel quietly spreading on Robin's legs, which made him feel strange, and his palms were covered with ice, ready to take action at any time. The quicksand on Robin's body receded. She raised her eyes and saw that familiar smile, and shouted urgently. Luo En, retreat quickly. Admiral Aokiji is here. Aokiji is a wild card in the plan. Behind the shattered door, figures walked out one after another. The leader, wearing ordinary casual clothes, with his hands in his trouser pockets, looking lazy, with a faint smile on his lips and bright black eyes, was none other than Luo En. On his left and right sides are Ace and Crocodile. Next to Ace are Luffy, Sanji, Usopp, Nami, Perona, and Chopper. Next to Crocodile are Zoro, Brook, Frankie, Mr. 1, Mr. 2, and Mr. 3. The Spade Pirates. Everyone participates. Luo En's eyes scanned everyone, and finally landed on Aokiji, with a trace of surprise flashing in his eyes. Aokiji's appearance was indeed unexpected. Luo En's plan is to catch all CP9s in one fell swoop. One of the conditions he used to convince Frankie was that CP9 was lurking around Bingshan, preparing to steal Pluton's blueprints. He promised Frankie to help Bingshan solve this problem, and Frankie agreed to join. Then, Luo En planned to take action against CP9 the night before leaving. Unexpectedly, my entire group was exposed. Luo En did not let Robin appear because he wanted to deal with these troubles quietly. However, when Robin was contacted by CP9, Luo En immediately noticed Robin's emotional changes. After questioning, he learned that the other party had approached Robin. Originally, Robin planned to sacrifice himself to save everyone, but with this idea, it just doesn't work here in Luo En. Luo En knew that he had been exposed, but it would take time to build the ship, so he used a trick and asked Robin to pretend to agree to all the other parties' requests in order to temporarily stabilize Fanjum. And when the pirate ship built by Frankie can go to sea, it's time to take action, and that's tonight. Another thing I have to say is that the pirate ship built by Frankie is only capable of going to sea. There are still many functions proposed by Luo En that need to be improved, and it is not in a complete state. Tonight's action has just begun. But in the original CP9 team, there is an extra Admiral Aokiji. This surprised Luo En, but it was just an accident. Luo En was not afraid. Crocodile and Ace are enough to tangle Aokiji, and the others are more than enough to deal with CP9. Robin, don't be nervous, have confidence in Ace and Lao Sha. Luo En comforted with a smile. Aokiji took a step forward, and a line of cold ice was left where he landed. He said in a deep voice, "Crocodile, why are you here? What is your relationship with them?" Aokiji's first target is Crocodile. As for Luo En, he didn't take it to heart. The intelligence shows that Luo En is fighting against Wu Za. But what Aokiji is confused about is why Luo En would stand in the middle and become the center of these guys. Saxi ignores Dana. Kuzan backquote. Crocodile bit his cigar, said hello, and then said, "They are Lousy's partners, what's wrong with being with them?" Partner. Crocodile joins the Spade Pirates. Aokiji frowned slightly and said with an unkind expression, "Crocodile, you choose to betray Marine." As a Shichibukai, he slipped into another pirate group without saying a word. What else could this be but a betrayal of Marine and world government? Ha 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 ha, betrayal. Don't say it so harshly, Marine has never been worthy of Lousy's allegiance. Lousy joined Shichibukai, it's just that both parties have their own needs. Do you think Lousy, a 3-year-old child, will be bound by your rules? Kuzan, Marine Admiral, you wouldn't be so naive, would you? Crocodile replied mercilessly. As expected, Crocodile's words made Aokiji's face completely gloomy, and the cold air around him became more solemn. The temperature of the whole room dropped instantly, making everyone feel cold. Crystal clear frost appeared in the corners of his eyes, and he blinked. The space covered half of his cheek. Then you can be formally arrested. Aokiji suddenly took a step forward, and a line of ice beneath his feet was like a giant python gliding on the ground, exploding and spreading at an extremely fast speed. Kagero. Just as Crocodile was about to take action, Ace's voice suddenly sounded in the room, and then the surrounding temperature rose sharply, making people feel like they were in a scorching furnace. Ace's 5 fingers were slightly bent, golden flames surged in his palms, and he suddenly swung downwards. The flame condensed into the shape of a fire pillar and hit the ice spreading on the ground. Laugh. Bang. When ice and fire met, white smoke like water vapor was immediately produced, and then 2 attacks exploded, blasting a big hole in the floor, revealing the floor below. Hey, Ace, you're being very rude. Crocodile turned and glanced at Ace, looking very unhappy. That's Lousy's opponent, don't interfere indiscriminately. Of course, Crocodile's unhappy expression was not due to dissatisfaction with Ace, nor was it due to a bad relationship. That's Crocodile's normal behavior. Maybe he only puts away his unhappy expression when facing Luo En. Marine Admiral, I'm really curious about the opponent's strength. Ace held up the orange cowboy hat on his head with one hand and smiled sheepishly. After practicing for so long, who wouldn't want to fight Marine Admiral? The flame is a little unusual. Aokiji's face was expressionless, but he was surprised in his heart. The temperature of this flame has even caught up with Akainu magma. Spandam finally came to his senses at this time, pointed at Luo En and yelled, "You bastard came out of nowhere. How dare you attack this commander? Why are you standing there in a daze? Why don't you arrest them all?" Spandam banged the table and yelled, which showed no temperament at all. If it weren't for his father's relationship, he would be a complete waste. I am the wanted criminal you want to take credit for. Now I am in front of you. What do you want? Luo En sneered, his hands in his pockets unchanged. Wanted criminal. Luo En, how did you get here? This commander clearly sent 500 elites to eliminate you. Spandam's eyes widened and he couldn't figure out why Luo En was here. Aokiji and the CP9 people all realized that they had fallen into each other's trap, but Spandam could still ask such a stupid question. There is no qualified opponent among the 500 people. Zoro slowly pulled out the sword from its sheath, and the sound of the blade rubbing against the sheath was particularly harsh. Those 500 people have all been dealt with. Luo En, can you do it? I want to beat that bastard away now. Luffy fisted his hands in front of him, getting ready for a fight. Lao Sha, please give me some face. Ace said to Crocodile. Hey, this won't work. The dark golden gravel in Crocodile's palm flowed and scattered all over the floor. Lao Sha, Can I help you light a cigar? You can't burn bridges. Ace argued with reason. Crocodile's mouth twitched and he fell silent. Depend on. From now on, Lousy will never need your help to light cigarettes again, Crocodile complained silently in his heart. Ah, that's Marine Admiral. If you don't run away, what are you waiting for? Perona held a pink umbrella and heard Crocodile and Ace fighting to take action, crying in her voice, help. Quote. How to say, Luo En? Ace asked in a low voice. As for Perona's protest, the protest is ineffective. Hearing Ace's question, Luo En was silent for a few seconds, thinking. What is the current situation? The original plan was to kill CP9 quietly, so the world government and Marine should not suspect the Spade Pirates. As soon as Aokiji appears, everything is revealed. The only way is to kill Aokiji. However, Marine Admiral is not so easy to solve. Even if Luo En takes action personally, the other party must have a way to pass on the message. It's difficult, but it is even more impossible to stop. The arrow is on the string and must be fired. In this case, the only option is to fight. Ace, Aokiji is left to you. Lao Sha and Luffy, led them to deal with the rest. Luo En ordered in a deep voice, with a look of horror on his face. He was not prepared to take action. Bold, be bold, Aokiji, catch all these arrogant bastards. Spandam was furious and urged. Aokiji took a step forward again, and the coldness around him seemed to freeze the air. He heard what he just said clearly. Ace and Crocodile competed to be his rival, but the last thing Ace asked was Luo En. Why does Luo En control these guys including Crocodile? This is the confusion in Aokiji's heart. The other party's natural demeanor showed that he was not afraid of him. Aokiji's cautious character has now become serious. Especially having to protect Spandam is a bit stressful. The commotion just caused alerted the soldiers outside, and now groups of Marine and World Government soldiers are surrounding the place and rushing up. Lucci stared at Ace with solemn eyes, feeling a great sense of oppression. The gravel that protected Robin just now was used by Crocodile, and the attacking flames were used by Ace. He injured himself with just one blow. How could Lucci remain calm? Moreover, the other party did not even put Aokiji in his eyes when he spoke. It was difficult for Lucci not to worry about what the other party had to hide. All members of CP9, prepare to fight. Lucci ordered coldly. The muscles in his body began to swell, and his clothes burst open to reveal cheetah-like patterns, and his whole body transformed. It took on the form of a leopard. Kaku, Gabula and others all gathered around and prepared for battle. Up, Luo En said softly. The light and fluttering voice instantly became the fuse, igniting the entire battle. Aokiji opened his arms, ice spread from his palms, and the ice shrouded all around, trying to cover the entire Spade Pirates group. He actually wanted 10 people to fight against the whole group. The Spade Pirates. Ace's back burst into flames, and then he galloped out. After noticing Aokiji's intention, his hands suddenly erupted with strong bursting red flames. He was almost in the same posture as Aokiji, blasting out. Golden flames. Laugh. The two heavens of ice and fire. The collision of fire and ice, the melting of ice, and the extinction of fire are like a dynamic dispute in nature. The two attacks blocked each other for a while. Lucci is the fastest among CPO. He was the first to flash out from behind Aokiji, rush into the first position, turn his palm into a leopard palm, and shoot at Crocodile. Crocodile's eyes flashed with a fierce look. He was already unhappy without having to fight Aokiji, but now there are annoying flies rushing towards him. The dark golden gravel in his hand flows like water. Under Crocodile's control, it seems to be given life. It accurately blocks in front of him, blocking Lucci's attack, and at the same time spreads out the entanglement. Going around, the powerful devouring power exploded instantly. In one breath, the moisture in Lucci's arm dissipated, and he was ripped off by Crocodile like a mummy. What's even weirder is that there's not even blood flowing out of the broken wound. All the water was swallowed up by the dark gold devouring sand. Ah! Lucci fell to the ground, screaming in pain, and his head was covered with fine cold sweat, and even his post-transformation state was uncontrollably released. His pupils were trembling, his eyes were dull, and his mind was blank. An arm was lost in the moment of the fight, and the speed was so fast that he didn't even react. How is that possible? He was half kneeling on the floor, holding his shoulders in pain. The severe pain reminded him that all this was true, but he couldn't believe it at all. How could the other party be so strong? Crocodile smiled coldly and prepared to kill him. But suddenly the whole building shook violently, and then the floor began to collapse. Ace and Aokiji's ice and fire collision caused a strong impact, which directly destroyed the building. Boom boom boom. The chaotic crashing sounds of collapse continued one after another, and the surrounding ground shook violently. Cracks spread under your feet, and stone slabs began to fall. The stone slab under Lucci just fell, Limo Zhao, and his body fell into the ruins below. Damn, Ace, we are all our own people here. Luo En cursed angrily. Ace's voice came from the thick water vapor. I can't help it, why don't you come? 88. That's not what you said just now. Burning bridges across rivers. Lucci. Kaku reacted quickly, diving directly into the ruins to save Lucci. Asshole. Come and save Lousy. Spandam shouted angrily. If the building collapses, he is the most likely person to die. Jabra twisted his body, rushed towards Spandam, and led him towards the portal opened by Bluno, and all CP9 members hid inside. Bluno, the door fruit ability user. Luo En and others were surrounded by a ball made of Crocodile's gravel, blocking the surrounding impact. Crocodile was just doing it casually, not to save anyone. With their strength, handling such small scenes is not a problem. After the violent collapse, the smoke and dust gradually dispersed, and the entire building was completely reduced to ruins. On top of the ruins, the two figures of ice and fire intertwined back and forth, outlining a different scenery in the night sky. The condensed sphere of gravel spread out, and Luo En and others walked out. At the same time, Spandam and the others also emerged from the power of the gate fruit. You bunch of useless trash. You can't even deal with a few brats. Spandam roared, his finger pulled the trigger without hesitation, and the bullet drew an arc and shot towards. Luffy pulled. Luffy's eyes were slightly focused, red light flashed in his eyes, and he turned his head slightly to avoid the bullet, his face gloomy. The next second, he suddenly rushed out, stretched out his arms, and hit Spandam with a powerful and heavy rocket. With a scream, he was shot into the ruins. There was dead silence all around, and no one expected Luffy to strike so quickly. Spandam crawled out of the ruins with blood on his face, his expression became ferocious and crazy, and he pressed the button of the golden phone bug in his hand without hesitation. Ha ha ha, go to hell for lousy. Buster Call. Launch. Chapter 65 Counterattack Buster Call. Aokiji Kaiba. Spandam originally wanted to personally teach those reckless bastards a lesson, but instead he offended the most fearless person, Luffy. Luffy's strength has surpassed that of any member of CP9. When he takes action, a layer of floating steam surrounds his body. He directly turns on the second gear and fires the rubber rocket launcher directly into the soul. Spandam was stunned. Then he reacted with anger, which made him lose his mind and press the golden phone bug. The golden phone bug started it. It was Buster Call. Buster Call summons 5 naval headquarters vice admirals, 10 battleships and countless marine soldiers to conduct an indiscriminate attack on the place where the demonic order is launched until it is destroyed. The most recent Buster Call was the Ohara incident that Robin experienced when he was a child. And now, Buster Call is launched again. Naval headquarters. Marineford. A very old-looking silver telephone bug suddenly opened its sleeping eyes and made an extremely weird and harsh sound. And this voice shocked the entire Marineford. The silver phone bug received the signal, which was the order to launch the Buster Call. Admiral Aokiji ordered a Buster Call. 20. The target is the capital of 7 waters. Contact 5 vice admirals near your destination immediately. At this distance, it will be faster to dispatch troops from headquarters. It will take less than 30 minutes. Teams of marine soldiers rushed onto the battleship, led by Flying Squirrel, Huo Shaoshan, Ghost Spider, Doberman, Storo Berry and the nameless marine vice admiral, piercing the quiet night. Sengoku stood by the window, looking at the 10 warships flying away with a heavy expression. Once the Buster Call is launched, there is no room for recovery. What happened in the 7 waters capital? Did the plan against Luo En and Crocodile fail? Kuzan is clearly in action, and even Crocodile will not be cool an opponent. Countless conjectures and doubts flashed through Sengoku's mind. Garp's face became even more ugly. He knew the news about Aokiji's transfer to deal with Luo En and Crocodile and to arrest Nico Robin, the son of the devil. Since Luo En is here, Ace and Luffy must not have run away. When he first got the news, Garp found it a bit interesting. It turned out that Crocodile had boarded the pirate ship of those boys. However, when he heard that the world government personally ordered Aokiji to cooperate with Spandam to deal with them, Garp became a little uneasy, but he couldn't show it. Now watching the Buster Call launch, he was completely confused. He was worried and cursed at the same time. What did those brats do? Even Buster Call was activated. It's broken, it's broken, it's broken. Garp knows the training effect of the Universal Training Warehouse, but he does not know the reward function of 637. Naturally, he does not think that Luo En and Ace can escape the Buster Call. The most important thing is that Buster Call is a ruthless massacre of an area. The capital of 7 waters is in danger. Both Sengoku and Garp remained worried and silent. The capital of 7 waters. Everyone watched in stunned silence as Spandam pressed the golden phone bug. Even Luo En didn't expect that Spandam would be such a bastard and press the Buster Call button right away. Now, the Buster Call is launched and there is no way to stop it. What did you press? Robin's face was filled with surprise and panic. She was the only survivor of the last Buster Call, and now, is she going to witness the second Buster Call with her own eyes? Go to hell. Marine will come soon and kill you all. Destroy all of this place. Ha 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 ha. Spandam laughed wildly, not thinking at all about the consequences of launching the Buster Call, which would lead to the 7 waters capital massacred. I said, what is that? Frankie asked eagerly with a bad feeling in his heart. That's the signal to launch the Buster Call. 5 marine vice admirals and 10 marine warships will arrive next and launch an indiscriminate attack on the 7 waters capital, killing everyone here. Robin's eyes were full of fear, and all the bad memories in his heart were brought back. What? Frankie jumped up in shock. Will all the 7 waters be destroyed? Everyone will be slaughtered. Everything about him is here. The people he knew, his senior brothers, and the memory of his teacher Tom. Tell him now that everything will be destroyed. Frankie couldn't accept it. He looked at the instigator, Spandam, with red eyes, charging forward like an angry bull. Quickly, stop him, Spandam shouted loudly, his words visible to the naked eye. He definitely didn't expect to encounter a group of crazy people here. Everyone wanted to take action against him. After hearing Robin's explanation, Luffy and others were stunned. No one thought that the consequences would be so serious. Buster Call, Crocodile murmured, waving his arms at the same time, and the dark gold sand devouring sand roared out. Blueno was about to use the power of the gate fruit to protect Spandam, but his feet were entangled in quicksand and he couldn't move. Luo En, how to solve it? Crocodile asked. Luo En looked gloomy and said coldly, kill. The anger in Luo En's heart was ignited. If the capital of Seven Waters was massacred due to his team's actions, that would be something he couldn't bear. There were too many innocent people here. Good. Crocodile didn't talk nonsense, and controlled the flow of dark gold sand in the palm of his hand, wrapping Blueno in it in the blink of an eye. The strong dehydration and devouring ability was activated, and when the sand and gravel receded, only a mummy was left in a miserable state of death. Those with the door fruit ability were killed. Crocodile clearly felt the change in Luo En's mood. At this time, he became more ruthless and ruthless. All members of CP9 rushed towards Frankie, blocking his movement and protecting Spandam. However, it was not that they underestimated Frankie, but that they forgot that Frankie had a partner. The Spade Pirates all took action, and the CP9 members couldn't be said to be stopping them, but rather repulsing them all. No one can stop Frankie. Among the ruins of the building, Kaku walked out with Lucci on his back. The two of them were covered in dust, but except for Lucci's broken arm, they had no other major injuries. Started a Buster Call. Lucci and Kaku were both stunned for a moment. This was too sudden. Quick, stop them. Lucci saw that the situation on the field was going to be unfavorable to Spandam, and he immediately said to Kaku. Be careful. Kaku left a word and rushed out suddenly. But before he could get close, two attacks landed on his path, forcing him to stop and look at the source of the attack. Usopp pulled down his goggles and pointed the slingshot directly at Kaku. Everything was self-evident. Kaku's face darkened, and seeing that it was too late, he turned and pounced on Usopp. An encounter between two long-nosed men. Usopp was unafraid and did not flinch. The slingshot in his hand fired at an even more terrifying rate, making streaks of sound in the air. The presence of observation haki restricted Kaku. Lucci did not move, staring at Robin's back with sinister eyes, quietly hiding himself in the darkness, like a cheetah waiting for an opportunity to hunt, quietly dormant. On the other side of the ruins, fire exploded, ice invaded, and various strange phenomena appeared in the sky. Ace and Aokiji fight wildly, an all-out battle between the two Logia ability users. Aokiji became more and more frightened. Ace's age is completely out of proportion to his strength. Did you start practicing cultivation right after your mother was born? In particular, the explosive red flame after the evolution of Mera Mera fruit is even more powerful than Akainu's lava lava fruit, which surprised Aokiji even more. It was the first time he saw flames comparable to magma. It stands to reason that the three of them, Admiral's devil fruit, are all the strongest elements in the branch, but when did the flames become so powerful? The name Ace is quite familiar to Aokiji. He heard this name last time from the phone call Garp answered. Then Garp went back to East Blue and encountered them, but the arrest failed in the end. Aokiji used to think that Garp was cheating and let them go on purpose, but now it seems, they might have escaped on their own. Buster Call. Immediately afterwards, Aokiji noticed the golden phone bug pressed in Spandam's hand. He was not unfamiliar with it, because he gave the phone bug to Spandam. Aokiji's eyes flashed and he felt a headache. The enemy is already difficult enough, but now that Buster Call is activated, the entire Seven Waters city will suffer. Well, Aokiji sighed helplessly in his heart. He was helpless in the Buster Call back then, and the same is true now. The Buster Call's instructions are not within his control at all, even if he is a Marine Admiral. Once the Buster Call is activated, it cannot be changed. Aokiji formed a huge ice shield with both hands in front of him, blocking Ace's fire fist. The icy figure rushes towards Spandam. After all, Aokiji cannot just watch something happen to Spandam. Want to leave? Ace's eyes narrowed, and when he noticed Aokiji's intention, the golden flames all over his body exploded even more. Fire ring fire pillar. After Ace uses the flame after ring, he turns the collected golden bursting red flame into a long burning pillar by rotating his hands, and shoots it towards Aokiji instantly. The sense of crisis behind it made Aokiji completely unable to ignore it. Before Aokiji could react, a quicksand waterfall suddenly appeared in front of him. Crocodile takes action and stops Aokiji. There are gravel blocks in front, and a pillar of fire attacks behind. Aokiji couldn't save Spandam, so he could only turn his head. The cold air in his palm gathered and condensed crazily. He concentrated all the cold air on his right arm and released an ice bird. Ice bird has a powerful impact and freezes wherever it goes. Ice cube storm pheasant mouth. Ice and fire collided again, like artillery fire screaming and exploding in the air. At this time, Frankie finally rushed to Spandam. When he thought that the city of Seven Waters was about to be destroyed, and that the bastard in front of him was the culprit, Frankie was filled with rage. Spandam fired in a panic, and even though he ran out of bullets, he couldn't hurt Frankie's transformed body. Don't come here. If you dare to hurt me, you will definitely pay the price. My father is a senior member of the world government. If you dare to hurt me, he will not let you go. Kuzan, come and save me. Spandam was completely panicked. Not only his father moved out and shouted to Aokiji for help. However, Aokiji was entangled by Ace and blocked by Crocodile, and was completely powerless. Bang! Frankie punched Spandam in the face, knocking him into the ground. Then he grabbed Spandam's shoulders with both hands and lifted him up, and Frankie hit him hard with his iron head. Bang! 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 Once, twice, 3 times, more than a dozen times in a row. Spandam's face was covered in blood and he was completely disfigured. His consciousness was blurred but he was still mumbling something. Frankie. Luffy's voice sounded behind him. Frankie's. Spandam raised it high and then fired it with a headshot. Bang! Spandam was knocked flying. What greeted him was another powerful and heavy rocket launcher. Bang! Spandam flew out, like a kite with a broken string, and fell into the ruins, not knowing whether he was alive or dead. Jabra and other members were defeated steadily by Zoro, Sanji and the others. Frankie ignored Spandam and quickly ran to Luo En, anxiously saying, Luo En, what should I do next? The city of 7 waters is where I have always lived. I can't just watch. Here he was massacred by Marine. Quote. Don't worry, I'm here. Luo En patted Frankie on the shoulder and comforted. Buster Call, 5 Marine Vice Admirals, 10 warships. It's not unstoppable yet. Leave everything to us, and we guarantee that we will return you intact 7 Waters City. Frankie was extremely moved. At this critical moment, Luo En did not choose to abandon him and leave. Everyone, deal with your opponents quickly. Then go to the port and prepare to face Marine's Buster Call. Remember, you must not let the opponent get close to the 7 Waters City to launch a bombardment. Luo En ordered loudly, and the atmosphere was solemn. Immediately afterwards, Zoro and the others broke out and killed their opponents one after another. CP9 at this time is not strong at all, not to mention that everyone in the Spade Pirates has Haki's blessing. Why don't you run away when Buster Call comes? I really want to go back to find the master. Perona commanded the negative ghost to help Usopp kill Kaku, and then couldn't believe it. Persuaded. Snapped. The same area was slapped again. What are we going to do? Buster Call must be solved. Luo En said very seriously. He doesn't claim to be a good person, but at least he can't watch so many innocent people die. Good people and bad people must have a conscience. When Luo En's voice fell, the surrounding temperature suddenly dropped sharply, as if winter had suddenly arrived. Aokiji completely exploded. Not to mention the failure of this operation, Spandam was also killed, and Aokiji was already angry. Even if there was some strength left for Garp's sake before, it's all gone now. Regardless of their relationship with Garp, these people in front of them are now definite enemies. An unforgivable enemy. Ice Age. The cold air surged, and frost began to appear on the ground, quickly condensing into ice. This is the method Aokiji used in the sea, and now he can use it on the ground to freeze everything around him. Ace, go to the port. Luo En greeted. Aokiji is now completely erupted. Anyway, Buster Call will come soon, and this place will still be destroyed. Luo En would not see this happening. If 2 people with admiral strength were to fight here, there would be no need to wait for Buster Call to arrive, and the island would be gone. The battle between Akainu and Aokiji changed the geological climate of Punk Hazard. When Ace heard this, he fought and retreated. The battlefield of ice and fire slowly shifted. The people who were alarmed looked at the destructive scene and fled in panic. As for the Marine soldiers, they suffered heavy casualties in the previous battle and now pose no threat at all. The members of the Spade Pirates rushed to the port as quickly as possible. It took a full 20 minutes to switch the battlefield to the location along the port. When they arrived, the shadow of the Marine warship could already be seen in the distance. Soon, the capital of 7 Waters entered the attack range of the huge warship. Ghost Spider and others on the ship immediately ordered an artillery attack. Everyone, kill them, Luo En said with a gloomy face. As expected, the bombing began without landing. Bang bang bang. Countless cannonballs were sprayed out in an instant. Crocodile transformed into a gravel tornado, rolling like a sandstorm, intercepting all the shells in midair. At the same time, the rest of the people took action. 4th gear. Luffy wrapped around Haki all over, biting the muscles of his arms and injecting air. As his body grew larger, it was covered with deep dark red patterns. Jet under your feet and rush out first. Zoro and Sanji even used enhanced moonwalk, and their figures flew rapidly on the sea. Brook ran directly on the sea. Frankie drove the power boat he built, carrying Usopp, Robin, Nami, Chopper, Mr. One and others to fight their way out. Buster Call. What lousy does is Buster Call? Luo En faced the sea breeze and squinted his eyes. The situation seemed to be peaceful and there was no need for him to take action. The battle between Aokiji and Ace has entered a fierce stage. Half of Aokiji's cheeks were covered with frost, and his breath was filled with bone-chilling cold air. At this time, he threw an explosive punch. Ice Gloves. Chapter 66 Luo En takes action and kills instantly. Everyone joins the fight. Ice Gloves. This punch is brutal and full of unparalleled destructive power. This punch is a combination of the Frozen Fruit ability and the Iron Fist inherited from Garp. A strong sense of crisis flashed through Ace's heart, his face darkened, and his arms that were originally flaming with flames gradually solidified, releasing their elemental form. The light in the eyes gradually brightened, and the golden flame reflected in the eyes flashed away, the pupils shrank, and an indescribable terrifying aura erupted from Ace, but it did not spread, but was entangled in strands, Ace's fist. The aura around Ace gradually became deeper and full of oppression. Along with the bright light on his arm, bolts of lightning seemed to come from nothingness floating around him, and the explosive aura all over his body made Aokiji's pupils suddenly shrink. Conqueror's Haki entanglement. Only a handful of strong men at the top of the sea can do it. Now, Aokiji was stunned when he saw Ace using his tyrant. Is this Mr. Garp's grandson? Looking at your age, you are not even 18 years old, right? Opened the tyrant. Not to mention in marine, even if you look at the entire sea, there is no such thing. If you don't believe me, lift the lid of Roger's coffin and ask him, did he become a bully when he was 18 years old? What exactly did Mr. Garp teach? It's not surprising that Ace awakens Conqueror's Haki, but Aokiji can't do it directly if he can use Ba-Tang. Shock and confusion did not affect Aokiji's battle decision-making at all. Originally, maybe for Mr. Garp's sake, Aokiji could be a little more cautious, but now the other party is forcing him to take action completely. Boom. Aokiji's eyes became sharper, his cold aura suddenly changed, and an energy no less than Ace rose up in him. The void explodes with lightning. Ice entanglement dominates. Gauntlet of ice, entangle conquerors. It is said that Admiral is as weak as a dog, no one can see him being domineering. The moment Conqueror's Haki was released on Aokiji, the powerful aura caused the island at his feet to collapse inch by inch, and the sky was eclipsed by dark clouds and thunder and lightning. Haki's exposed posture. Show your Admiral true colors. Aokiji, Kaiba Matoi. Tisk. Countless lightning flashed around Ace and Aokiji. The soaring momentum frightened countless people. Kuzan Admiral. What a terrifying attack. What kind of enemy did we encounter? Even the Admiral had to launch a buster call. A destructive gesture. Buster call. Do we really need to take action? The Marine Vice Admirals on the warship had self-doubt. The scene where Conqueror's Haki performs in the distance is too shocking to the eye. Ace's opponent is so strong. Marine Admiral is really awesome. Luffy sighed, recognizing Aokiji's experience from the bottom of his heart. It's Conqueror's Haki. That Marine Admiral is also the same as Ace. Sanji's figure shuttled across the sea, and couldn't help but turn his head and said in shock. As expected, you can't be underestimated, you sexy cook, aren't you afraid? Zoro smiled coolly, his eyes full of fighting spirit. Green algae head, I must have defeated more Marines than you. Sanji said unconvinced. Sanji's current strength has reached that of a senior colonel, and the blood factor in his body is quietly awakening for some reasons. Although his strength is temporarily lagging behind, he will surely make a huge breakthrough soon. Those two guys. A whisper came from the gravel tornado, and it was Crocodile's voice. Watching the battle between Ace and Aokiji, he couldn't help but sigh. It makes sense for Conqueror's Haki to be called a king. Ba-Tang's methods are undoubtedly more powerful than ordinary methods. Aokiji, you really have conquerors. What is the strength of Marine Admiral? Luo En turned around and looked at the explosion scene of ice and fire in the sky, with a look of understanding on his face, and murmured slowly in his heart. The strength of the Summit War Admiral is generally recognized. However, there are too many changes in the subsequent plot. The appearance of Haki and the emergence of Ba-Tang completely destroyed the Nanfang in front. So, if a Kainu can become Marine Marshal, is it a backdoor way to give gifts? Aokiji can fight with a Kainu for 10 days and 10 nights. Is it because a Kainu is soft-hearted? It doesn't make sense. The power of Marine Admiral is undeniable. More needs to be made official. A strong person at the Admiral level is enough to play a strategic role. It is not even on the same level as Buster Call. The power of Buster Call is that for the weak and ordinary people, once they face the strong, they can only give away their lives, delay time, and waste time. The opponent's physical strength. I can't see what effect it has. It's so scary. Will we all die here? Perona surrounded Luo En, feeling anxious. The devastating scene in the sky frightened her. In her measurement standards, even Moria is not that powerful. Stop disturbing the morale of the army, just watch quietly. Luo En said with a black line on his face. The reason why Perona was not allowed to participate in the battle was to avoid her identity a little, so the two of them were left at the port. One side was the direction of Buster Call's attack, and the other side was Ace and Aokiji's fight. Perona pouted, still expressing doubt. At this moment, a figure suddenly burst out from the darkness, appeared behind Luo En as fast as lightning, and slapped him with a palm, even causing a harsh sound of breaking wind. Bang! A palm full of power blasted a deep pit into the ground at the port, filling the air with dust. Ah, Luo En, are you okay? Perona was frightened by this sudden attack. Who would have thought that someone would sneak attack Luo En at this time? She didn't even notice. In the smoke and dust, the figure of Lu Chi with a broken arm slowly emerged, and his murderous face showed great shock. The opportunity for a surprise attack found in the secret was actually avoided by the other party. How is it possible? The attack has already reached behind him, how did he avoid it? Lu Chi was shocked. The opponent's speed is really terrifying. Lu Chi stood up and looked around with a heavy expression. Except for Perona, there was no sign of Luo En at all. Come out. You can't run away. If you don't come out, I'll kill her. Lu Chi pointed at Perona and threatened. Perona pouted. You were looking for Luo En, what does it have to do with me? However, seeing Luo En dodge the attack, she subconsciously patted her chest, breathed a sigh of relief, and muttered in her heart, I knew that bad guy Luo En was not that weak. How could someone who could spank her every day be weak? Damn it, you are using me to threaten people. I want you to look good. Pelora showed her nature as a witch and casually summoned a few soul bombs and threw them at Lu Chi. The negative ghost also shuttled around and shot out. Quality. Lu Chi didn't dare to be careless, so he moved his feet and dodged quickly. He was scared of being beaten tonight, and he didn't know what other abilities the other party was hiding. And just when Lu Chi found an opening and wanted to launch an attack on Perona, a figure silently appeared behind him, and a palm lightly pressed on his head. He said something that made Lu Chi break into a cold sweat. I didn't expect you to be so eager to die. I can only show mercy and help you. The reappearance of Luo En. Luo En had already noticed Lu Chi's sneak attack just now, and the moment he disappeared was just to quietly deal with the marine soldiers rushing here to prevent his actions from being seen. So, let Lu Chi live a few more seconds. Lu Chi's eyes were round, empty, and lifeless. Cold sweat dripped from his forehead, and he felt great fear in his heart. Only then did he realize that Luo En, who he always thought was trash, had actually been hiding his strength. The intelligence clearly stated that Luo En was to create pirates, so Lu Chi dared to hide in the dark and wanted to kill the opponent in a sneak attack and at least complete one of the tasks. As a result, he hit the biggest iron plate of the Spade Pirates. Luo En is no nonsense and shows no mercy. Use your 5 fingers and slap down hard. The speed was even so fast that it took Lu Chi's body out of the afterimage. Bang! The ground beneath my feet turned into dark golden sand at some point, completely resembling a small desert scene, but a coffin is more appropriate to describe it. Lu Chi was thrown into the gravel, as if he was swallowed by the abyss, his figure completely disappeared, and the water in his body was drained, and then a golden luster flashed underground, and the bursting red flames burned silently. Destroy corpses and destroy traces. Perona was stunned by this set of smooth movements. Did you see? If you dare to provoke me in the future, this will be your fate. At such moments, Luo En did not forget to tease the little loli. Boom. A violent sound suddenly erupted. Ace and Aokiji's domineering collision, ultimate's explosion. There was a sense of fragmentation in the surrounding space, and flashes of thunder and lightning were like fireworks in the night sky, illuminating the entire capital of 7 waters. The roaring lightning, the impact of the explosion, the high temperature of the flames, the freezing of the ice. When they gathered together, everything around them was destroyed, the buildings collapsed, the ground collapsed, and the seawater was turbulent. The rolling waves caused marine warships to sway in the wind and waves, causing the artillery offensive to stop. Luffy, Zoro and the others also rushed onto the warship and started fighting. Ace and Aokiji stood facing each other after the blow, regenerating their strength and preparing for the next explosion. It's really surprising that a newcomer who just went to sea can have such strong strength. Aokiji's face became calmer and calmer, but the ice became colder and colder. Ace's strength really surprised Aokiji. Is this a newcomer to the Grand Line from East Blue? Marine Admiral is well deserved. Ace held on to his cowboy hat and said with a smile. Against Aokiji, he is very cautious. It's unimaginable that someone like you would listen to Luo En's instructions. I'm curious, what is the relationship between you two? Aokiji asked without leaving any trace. The Spade Pirates have just emerged, but they have shown such strength that they have to take it seriously. But Marine still has too little information about them. Ace's heart moved slightly and he smiled softly. Luo En is the captain, and I am the deputy captain. I'm curious, why is he the captain? Aren't you his opponent? Aokiji looked confused. Ace knew that the other party wanted to pry, but he kept Luo En's words in mind and misled him directly. Do you think Luo En became the captain because of his strength? It's a pity that he just won a bet. I created the Spade Pirates. The sentence Ace has 2 meanings. 1. Luo En does not have the strength to become the captain. 2. The Spade Pirates were created by Ace, implying that he is the one who controls the Spade Pirates. 0. Please give me flowers. Aokiji suddenly realized that this was the reason why he had been doing it for a long time, and said calmly, "You pirate group is really interesting." Ace didn't know whether Aokiji believed what he said, and the bursting red flame condensed again. What's going on with your flames? Aokiji finally couldn't help but ask. No more comments. Ace grinned. The next second, the fire exploded. Cracking, Ace attacks again. The battle entered a fierce climax. On the marine warship, the marine soldiers on the ship were shocked when they saw the figures coming towards them. Is that correct? We are here to execute Buster Call. What do they want to do? Anyone else wants to fight Buster Call? They're crazy. The soldiers were all muttering in their hearts. Separate 5 warships and stop them. Increase the artillery attack on the remaining 5 warships. Ghost Spider gave the order through the loudspeaker. The flying squirrel on the side added. Don't be careless, the opponent is Crocodile, one of the Shichibukai. As soon as he finished speaking, the crocodile rushing at the front turned into a flying sandstorm and landed on the marine warship. Crocodile, what do you want to do? Strawberry stared blankly and yelled. If you choose to be an enemy of Marine, Marine will not let you go. Ha 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 ha, Lousy is tired of hearing this. Crocodile smiled lowly, and the gravel flowed from his hand, condensing into a sand blade and slashing out mercilessly. Strawberry held a samurai sword and said solemnly, I will arrest you today. On the warship next to it, Luffy, who had turned on the fourth gear, felt like he was in an uninhabited land. Ordinary marine soldiers were no match at all and were knocked into the sea one after another. Stop. The flying squirrel rushed from another battleship, the sword light flashed, and it slashed towards Luffy in an arc. If Luffy continues to act recklessly, the marines on this warship will fall into the sea. Brush. Luffy observation haki activates and dodges slashes at extremely fast speeds. Huh, you dodged it. What speed was that? The flying squirrel was shocked, his eyes full of shock. Before he could react, Luffy's fist came first. The flying squirrel's eyes were cold and the knife was held horizontally in front of him. When Luffy's fist hit the blade, and the next second his compressed fist suddenly popped out. Bang! The powerful force directly blasted the flying squirrel away, like a cannonball flying backwards, and even broke the thick main pole of the battleship. Ahem. Who are you? The flying squirrel struggled to stand up, feeling a burning pain in his back and shocked in his heart. Where the hell did this guy come from? Knocked back Marine Vice Admiral with one punch. The flying squirrel said he couldn't understand it, let alone accept it. I am Monkey D. Luffy, the man who wants to become the Pirate King. Luffy introduced himself like an oath, then sprayed from his feet and rushed out again. Monkey. The flying squirrel was startled. He always felt that these two were a bit familiar, as if he had heard them somewhere. Damn, Vice Admiral Garp's last name is Monkey. Flying squirrel's eyes lit up when he suddenly heard the name. Then everything went dark, because Luffy's fist arrived again. Level 4 Luffy, even Vice Admiral can't resist it. Battleship next to it, hundreds of troubled winds knocked away dozens of marine soldiers. Zoro bit the evolved Wado Yamanji, held Kidetsu and Shisui in his hands, and walked forward step by step. He released a beast-like sense of oppression all over his body, and his aura was so powerful that it made the marines. The soldiers were so frightened that they did not even dare to move forward. That's it, you sinful guy, Lousy will cut off your hands and feet with his own hands and send you to impel down. The marine soldiers spread out and the marine Vice Admiral Ghost Spider walked step by step. His hair is like 8 spider legs, each holding a samurai sword. The scars on his face make him look extremely fierce. His eyes are fierce and he stares at Zoro with murderous intent. The Ghost Spider is famous for its cruelty. Marine Vice Admiral with a sword. Zoro's eyes lit up and he suddenly became interested. He really hoped that the other party could let him have a hearty battle. Ghost Spider said nothing nonsense. He waved 8 swords behind him and held a sword in his hand. His feet exploded and his figure suddenly became erratic. 6th style. Shave, rushing towards Zoro at great speed. There was a smile on the corner of Zoro's mouth, and the fighting spirit in his eyes was surging. He also shaved his head, and the 3-sword style broke out. Ding 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 ding. There was a fierce sound of iron and stone clashing. The two figures separated. Danglang, danglang, danglang. 8 broken knives fell at the feet of the Ghost Spider. He looked stunned, raised his head in shock, his eyes fell on Zoro's knife, and he exclaimed in disbelief, "What knife did you use? How powerful and sharp is the knife that can cut off all 8 of his knives in one encounter?" He was careless and the 8 swords in his hair were not wrapped with armed colors, but neither was Zoro. Moreover, Ghost Spider's knives are all made of fine steel, which is one of the best knives and can compete with the fast knife series. Now, it's just a face-to-face meeting, and the knife is broken. Ghost Spider was horrified. This was the first time he encountered such an outrageous thing. What kind of quality is the knife in the hand of the kid opposite? Chapter 67. The entire army was wiped out. Ace collapses. Please customize. Zoro frowned. At that moment, he suddenly felt that Wado Yamanji's evolution was not just as simple as evolution. The moment he touched the opponent's blade, Wado Yamanji's blade seemed to have a different power gushing out. Has the power to cut through everything. And Zoro has a feeling that the stronger he is, the stronger the power that can inspire Wado Yamanji to cut off. Invincible and invincible. Divine weapon. Zoro stood still, took off his turban and put it on slowly, and said solemnly, "If the Marine Vice Admiral only has this kind of strength, the battle will end here." No one likes wearing a headscarf. Zoro, seriously. Zoro is often the scariest at this time. Wearing a headscarf is tantamount to finding buff for Zoro. A mere brat from the Grand Line still wants to defeat Lousy. I don't know how high the sky is, but I really want to thank you for sending a sword that is no less than a supremely sharp sword to Lousy. The Ghost Spider smiled cruelly, and the weapon in his hand instantly entangled armament haki. He was indeed careless just now, but he will not be next. Looking at Zoro's childish face, he was filled with disdain. You're just a little brat, but you still dare to fight against Buster Call. Simply looking for death. Want my knife? Come and get it yourself. Zoro's smile was cold, and with the flash of sword light, he killed in front of the Ghost Spider. Ghost Spider showed a ferocious smile on his face, and swung his sword fiercely to attack. The two of them fought together, and the surrounding marine soldiers were completely unable to intervene. The remaining members of the Spade Pirates were eyeing the warship that continued to unleash cannon fire. Frankie drove the power boat around the sea and sent everyone to the warship. He took Mr. 3 across the sea and used the ability of wax fruit to block the muzzles of all cannons, causing countless cannon explosions, unable to cause damage to the capital of 7 waters. On the warship, a fierce battle broke out. Sanji, Robin, Nami, Chopper, Mr. One, and Usopp were cleaning up the ordinary Marine 770 soldiers, but there were too many Marine soldiers. Frankie's move was noticed by Doberman, who took the opportunity to cut off the boat. Mr. 3 fell into the water. If Frankie hadn't fished him out, the third brother might have died here. Damn it, damn it. Do you really think I only have this little strength? Mr. 3 recovered and roared angrily. Mr. 3, Galdino's arms turned into wax and he threw them at the warships on both sides. After the candles fell on the ship, they increased in number and flowed around. Within a moment, the two entire warships were completely filled with candles, and all the Marines on the ship turned into candlemen. Galdino's outburst directly killed two warships. However, Galdino also went into a state of collapse because he consumed too much energy. His legs became weak and he could not stand. Damn it! Doberman cursed in a low voice, and then ordered to the Marine soldiers on the distant warship, "This is the Devil Fruit ability, use seawater to pump them out." He didn't expect the opponent's ability to be so violent, controlling two warships. This ability was almost as effective as Logia's. Buster Call's fleet has been disrupted by everyone, especially now that two other warships need to be rescued. Marine is even more in a hurry. Here, Luffy exploded. Luffy's body ejected until he flew high into the sky, and then suddenly rushed down. Rubber Rhino Howitzer. In the fourth gear mode, Luffy contracted his legs to ultimate, wrapped around armament hockey, and launched an impact from top to bottom. The terrifying air pressure made the entire warship begin to shake. The flying squirrel gritted its teeth and used its strongest slash, beating the rhinoceros howitzer. Bang! The moment the slash touched Luffy's feet, they were shattered violently. He kicked the flying squirrel's blade and blasted him away with great force, like a cannonball hitting the deck of a warship. The faces of the surrounding Marine soldiers were filled with horror. Damn! The one who was shot away was the Naval Headquarters Vice Admiral. Luffy's attack fell completely, and the terrifying attack actually blocked the middle of the warship and smashed it to pieces. If Luffy hadn't reacted in time and ejected from his feet to take off again, he might have rushed into the sea water, which was really embarrassing. But now, the warship has been destroyed. Sea water poured in and was engulfing the warship, and the Marine soldiers frantically called for help. Seeing this, Doberman decisively gave up on his opponent and plunged into the sea. When he reappeared, he supported the seriously injured flying squirrel and shouted an order in the sea, "Hurry up and save people. Put down all the lifeboats." When Luffy's side achieved victory, Zoro also used his ultimate move. Zoro jumped up from the deck and retreated again with the help of Moonwalk. The three knives in his hands and mouth quietly wrapped around armament hockey, then he suddenly dived down and started chanting. 9 mountains and 8 seas form one world. When thousands of worlds are gathered together, they become a small thousand worlds. This world is multiplied by 3, and there is no self-continuous one. The secret of 3 sword styles. 1. 3,000. 1,000 worlds. The unparalleled hockey figure, coupled with the devilish murmurs when chanting, reveal a completely natural hockey. Ghost Spider looked shocked, intimidated by Zoro's powerful aura, and felt inexplicable palpitations. But he has the dignity of being a Marine Vice Admiral, how can he accept being scared by a kid? "You sinful guy, let Lousy die." The ferocious sword light flashed, and the Ghost Spider unleashed a full blow, intersecting with the slashing attack from high in the sky. The swords and lights intertwined, and 2 figures flashed past. Zoro rushed directly into the opponent's warship, even breaking the deck where he landed, which shows how ferocious the impact just now was. He took a deep breath, stood up slowly, and sheathed the knife. There is no need to say much about his actions. The Ghost Spider behind him held a broken blade entangled with armament hockey in his hand. There was a deep wound on his chest with bone visible. His ferocious face was filled with disbelief. He vomited blood from his mouth and said intermittently, "How? Maybe. Lousy is clearly entangled with armament hockey. Ahem. Why still?" Before he finished speaking, he fell down on the deck. Vice Admiral. The Marine soldiers were frightened by this scene. A warship has just been sunk over there, and a Vice Admiral has been seriously injured here. Who is the other party? However, just as the Marine soldiers took action, someone was shocked to discover that the deck under their feet was breaking. A smooth and flat crack expanded rapidly. "Quick, look under your feet. The deck is cracked." No, the boat was cut open. The Marine soldiers were so frightened that they flew out. The huge warship under their feet was broken into 2 sections and slowly sank into the sea. In an instant, there was another Marine calling for help. Zoro also defeated the Marine Vice Admiral. Luffy jumped from the air and threw Zoro onto another Marine warship. Seeing Zoro landing from the sky, all the Marine soldiers on the ship subconsciously took a step back. This is too scary. They are the troops executing the Buster Call. What kind of monster is the other party? In the blink of an eye, 4 out of 10 warships lost their combat power. Adding in the Marine soldiers who carried out the rescue order, it was already unthinkable to execute the Buster Call. "Damn it, Crocodile, what on earth do you want?" Storo Berry had a sullen face and asked the man in front of him angrily. Huo Shaoshan covered a withered arm, and the cigar he usually chewed in his mouth was knocked away. The two teamed up, but they were still no match for Crocodile. Crocodile sneered disdainfully. "What are we going to do? It's obviously you who came to us." On the warship he was on, all the marine soldiers had been eliminated. In the distance, the pirate ship before the Spade pirates shuttled through the sea and broke through the waves. The driver on the ship was a member of the Frankie family. Captain Crocodile. The captain told you to solve the problem quickly and prepare to go to sea immediately. The members on the ship trembled and conveyed Luo En's order to Crocodile. Got it. Crocodile took a deep breath of his cigar, his eyes gradually becoming dangerous. I was disliked by Luo En. Ace is fighting with Admiral over there, and he is wasting time with Vice Admiral here. You guys come back to our ship, this place is left to lousy. Crocodile shouted to Sanji and others. Without any hesitation, everyone abandoned their enemies and returned to the Spade pirate ship, focusing on trust. Crocodile, let me help you. Luffy greeted from a distance. No, I won't play with them anymore. Crocodile took a puff of his cigar and spoke in a low voice, but the gravel in his palm shone with a different dark gold color. Call. The next second, Crocodile's lower body turned into a tornado and rose into the sky. And the dark gold swallowing sand floated in the air like floating water, slowly entangling all the remaining warships, powerfully swallowing and erupting, frantically absorbing all the water. The materials of the marine warship began to turn into powder as if weathered. All the water in it was swallowed up by the dark gold devouring sand. What is he doing? The marine soldier roared in horror. Stop, Crocodile. Strawberry's eyes were red and he roared at the top of his lungs. However, it was outright ignored by Crocodile. In just a few breaths, all 6 remaining marine warships sank. Symbolizing Marines' actions in this buster call, the entire army was annihilated. This sea area is full of marine soldiers, so densely packed that when viewed from a high altitude, they look like ants falling into the water. Crocodile did not do any last hitting, leaving these marines to fend for themselves. He returned to the Spade pirate ship. What else did Luo En say? Everyone is waiting here to be picked up. Luffy will take me back, drive out the new pirate ship, pick up Ace and leave here. Frankie took over the words. Just now his little brother told him about Luo En's arrangement. Moreover, the materials required for shipbuilding are all on board and ready. The new pirate ship still needs to continue to be built according to the requirements designed by Luo En. Gone. Luffy sprayed from his feet, grabbed Frankie and rushed back. Hey, Luffy, slow down. Frankie was grabbed by Luffy's shoulders, dancing around as if he was afraid he wouldn't fall. Frankie returned to his base, his eyes full of reluctance, almost on the verge of tears, and then he resolutely drove a new pirate ship and followed the river into the sea. Brother, take care, Frankie murmured in his heart. Frankie drove the new pirate ship around to the port. Luo En, everything is ready and you can go to sea. Frankie greeted loudly. Luo En waved his hand, indicating that he understood, but did not turn around, but looked at the battle between Ace and Aokiji in the distance. Ice and fire. If it weren't for Ace's Mera fruit evolution bursting red flame, it would probably be difficult to compete with Aokiji. It's just that the current battle situation is tense and Ace doesn't seem to be allowed to retreat. Ace couldn't get out at all. Luo En's hang. While thinking about how to get Ace out of the way, Luffy happened to appear next to Luo En. Luo En, when will Ace's battle end? How can we go to see if Ace doesn't come? 1. Luffy has been released from the 4th gear state, and although he says he will not join the Spade Pirates, he has naturally brought his own identity into it. Luo En suddenly had a smirk on his lips, put his arm around Luffy's shoulders, and whispered a few words in his ear. Luffy's eyes became excited and he promised loudly, okay. I will definitely bring Ace back. As he spoke, Luffy suddenly stretched out his arm, wrapped it around the main pole of the pirate ship several times, and then charged in Ace's direction. Seeing this, Luo En couldn't hold back the smile at all, turned around and ran towards the new pirate ship. Perona was stunned for a moment and asked in confusion, what? You don't plan to take them with you? Oh, what nonsense are you talking about? You'll know in a minute. Luo En stretched out his arm, put Perona floating in the air on his shoulders, and ran towards Frankie. Let go of this princess. Let go of this princess. What do you want to do? The little loli suddenly started struggling. It wasn't until she was patted by Luo En in a familiar place that she was forced to calm down, but she had already planned 100 ways for Luo En to become a zombie in her little notebook. And 100 plans to secretly give Luo En powerful laxatives. After Luo En got on the boat, he immediately told Frankie, set the boat. Don't worry about anything, just move forward at full speed. Ah, Frankie was stunned. Did he really not care about Ace? Why are you hesitating? Luo En jumped up and slapped Frankie on the head. The result was like hitting a piece of steel. Am I the kind of person who abandons his partners? Didn't you see that Luffy was already there? Going to pick him up. If he doesn't run faster now, Aokiji will be able to entangle Ace before he can react. Quote. Okay. Frankie quickly set off the boat. Luffy's arms are being stretched longer and longer, which means that the elasticity will become bigger and bigger. Ace. Take my hand. Luffy roared suddenly and quickly stretched his arms to grab Ace. Ace's eyes were stunned, and he pushed out a blast of bursting red flames with both hands, then flew back and grabbed Luffy's arm with both hands. The ice collides with the flames, producing violent steam. In the steam, Aokiji, whose body is like ice, appears. He looked up at the strange scene in front of him and frowned, not understanding what Luffy and Ace wanted to do. But when he saw Luffy's arm holding on to the pirate ship that was sprinting away, Aokiji suddenly reacted. They want to escape. However, as soon as Aokiji took action, Luffy relaxed his arm and no longer controlled the extension of his arm. It was like a rubber band that was stretched to the limit. Suddenly one end lost its tension, and the face in front of him suddenly lost its tension. What will be the immediate result? Aokiji was lucky enough to see 1.1, the world's largest, rubber band, contracting to its limit. Brush. There was a roar in the air, and Ace and Luffy had violent friction with the air. In fact, Ace realized something the moment Luffy started to rebound. His face turned pale and he wanted to stay away from Luffy immediately. But Luffy's arm was still wrapped around Ace's waist several times, making it impossible for Ace to break free. He could only passively rush out like a flying monkey. Luffy. You, eldest, master. Ace opened his mouth to speak, but his mouth was filled with wind and he couldn't speak at all. He could only express his meaning intermittently. Luffy's face was full of excitement, his cheeks were almost blown up into hot air balloons, and he made excited sounds from his mouth. Yeah, good, stimulating. Two people are in the same environment, but their moods are completely different. Luffy was so happy. Ace wants to die. While he wanted to die, he also wanted to give Luffy a beating. In the blink of an eye, Luffy and Ace flew back. Frankie and Perona looked at this scene with their eyes completely widened, their clear eyes full of confusion. What the hell kind of operation is this? Is there such a ridiculous way to retreat? For a moment, they didn't know whether Luo En, who proposed this method, was not a human being, or whether Luffy, who performed this method, was not a human being. Luo En looked at the two figures that appeared in front of him in an instant. He smiled so much that Kakuzu grinned almost to his ears, and his expression management was out of control. The next second, he suddenly squatted down with his head in his hands. Call out. Luffy flew over his head. Bang. He hit the pillar straight up. And Ace had the most classic scene. He did not successfully get on the boat, but bumped into the steel guardrail without any resistance. Boom. The crisp sound burst out together with Luo En's uncontrollable laughter. Ha 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 ha. Chapter 68 Sengoku breaks the defense. I am angry. Ha 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 ha. Luo En had been holding back his laughter since Luffy and Ace rebounded, but now he couldn't hold it back anymore and laughed wildly, his laughter full of schadenfreude. After all, with Ace's strength, such famous scenes are rare. Ah, it hurts. Luffy collapsed on the deck, feeling like stars were popping out of his eyes. In fact, Luo En did not do anything. He quietly covered the poles and guardrails with a layer of armament hockey. Mainly due to the impact of Luffy and Ace, he was afraid of damaging the pirate ship, so he did this behavior that would damage his family. Luffy was not supposed to be in pain, but now he had a big bag on his head, which stretched up his straw hat. Ace hit the guardrail and was bounced high, saying words that did not fit his image. Luffy asterisk 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 asterisk. Luo En, you asterisk asterisk asterisk. Luo En stood up, caught Ace, and pulled him back to the boat, trying to control his expression. A big round bump appeared on Ace's forehead. The first thing he did when he landed was to grab Luo En's collar, asterisk asterisk asterisk. Asterisk 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 asterisk. Luo En is no longer a human being. Ace originally thought it was Luffy who did such an unreliable thing, but when he hit the guardrail and saw the entangled armament hockey, he immediately began to greet Luo En's 18 generations of ancestors. Even Ace, who is not a very good-tempered person, has his defenses broken. What a loss. Calm down, this is a helpless move, and it was obviously Luffy who did it. Ha 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 ha. Luo En tried his best to comfort him, but he couldn't help but burst into laughter. He himself didn't know why he was so happy. Luo En, I will fight with you. Ha 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 ha. Don't slap me in the face, I'm the captain. Lousy beats the captain. Perona and Frankie just couldn't bear to cover their eyes, but now they were watching the funny scene in front of them through their fingers, and they gradually came to their senses. Ah, Luo En not only didn't help, but also entangled armament hockey. Frankie's mind was filled with questions. To be honest, he couldn't stand it anymore. Ace, stop fighting, Aokiji is coming. Luo En noticed the cold breath approaching and quickly reminded him. Ace stopped angrily and looked up at 05. The sea water is freezing at a terrifying speed, and it will soon freeze to the pirate ship. Aokiji at the port reached into the sea with one hand and cast Ice Age, releasing super cold air. He also had another purpose of doing this, which was to rescue marine soldiers who fell into the sea. To be honest, Pheasant has never paid attention to Buster Call's fleet. But when Ace retreated just now, he glanced at the sea and saw 10 sunken warships, and he was immediately stunned. Buster Call, defeated. In all these years, no one has been able to resist Buster Call. Even when Bullet faced Buster Call, he fell with Garp's support. Now, 5 Marine Vice Admirals and 10 Marine warships have been killed. The Spade Pirates are really the rookie pirates. Aokiji was confused, but without any further thought, he immediately flew to the shore and took action quickly to intercept Luo En's pirate ship. Ace's arms burned with flames again, preparing to take action. Luo En quickly grabbed him. Don't do anything, just withdraw. Frankie. Zoom in. Understood. Let you see the new functions. Frankie immediately rushed into the cabin and started the superpower device. The wind sprayed. Phew. Boom. A bright blue flame shot out from the stern of the pirate ship, and then the entire pirate ship flew out like a spaceship. Ahahaha, the pirate ship is flying. Luffy laughed heartily and seemed to have forgotten the gloom just now, but the hand holding the straw had accidentally touched the bag on his head, and his laughter immediately turned unhappy. What kind of ability is this? Ace's eyes widened with disbelief on his face. What on earth did Luo En and Frankie do? Can the ship still fly? The huge pirate ship flew over the heads of Crocodile and others. An iron chain hook shot out from the bottom of the ship and hooked on a guardrail in front of the original pirate ship. This is a connecting device specially built by Frankie. It was originally just intended to fix two pirate ships together, but unexpectedly it has a different function now. Ah. Be careful. Hurry up. Ah. The people on the shore immediately began to find a place to grab hold, and a huge force drove the pirate ship to ride the wind and waves on the sea. So, there was such a weird scene. There is a pirate ship flying in the sky, and it is racing along with a pirate ship on the sea. The sea water behind him is quickly freezing into ice. Frankie observed the situation behind him through the telescope in the cabin control room. The pirate ship below was about to be frozen by the ice. Ace, come to the cabin to help. Frankie rushed for help. Ace entered the cabin without knowing why, and then Frankie asked him to aim at a power device and use all his fire. The propeller built with the power of exploding red flames came in handy. Boom. The pirate ship flying in the sky accelerated again. The screams coming from the pirate ship below were louder. It seemed like no one was smiling except Luo En and Luffy. What? Aokiji's figure shuttled across the ice, looking at the two pirate ships riding the wind and waves at abnormal speeds, his face extremely gloomy. What kind of Gyuki snake god did he encounter? There are endless variations. Ha 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 ha. Aokiji, see you later. Luo En waved to Aokiji from a distance. Aokiji looked at the defeated Buster Call Marine and gave up the idea of pursuing him. The capital of Seven Waters. Bingshan stood on a tall building, touching the letter Frankie left for him in his hand, looking at the pirate ship gradually disappearing from sight, and whispered softly, Frankie, I am looking forward to the peerless battleship you built. Quote. Kuzan Admiral. Admiral. The marine soldiers climbed up from the sea water along the ice and saluted respectfully when they saw Aokiji. Kuzan strode to Storoberry and asked in a deep voice, what happened? You were all defeated. The seriously injured flying squirrel and ghost spider, and the half-injured Huo Shaoshan all made the corners of Aokiji's eyes tremble violently. Is this how you execute Buster Call? Kuzan Admiral. We. Huo Shaoshan lowered his head in shame. Doberman bit the bullet and explained. There was a guy named Monkey D. Luffy on the other side who injured the flying squirrel. Another swordsman named Roronoa Zoro severely injured the ghost spider. Storoberry and Huo Shaoshan failed. Stopped Crocodile and he destroyed all the warships. His voice was extremely aggrieved. The majestic Buster Call executor was defeated by a group of young boys who had just left the sea. How could he lose his face? Monkey D. Luffy. Aokiji's eyes flickered, but he did not blame them. He whispered. Go to the city of Seven Waters to ask the mayor of Iceberg to borrow a few warships, and then return to Marineford. Yes. Aokiji commanded Marine to arrive at the capital of Seven Waters and clean up the mess. The disastrous defeat once again silenced Aokiji. Spandam is dead. All members of CP9 died in battle. Lucci is missing. Aokiji can even imagine the anger of the world government when they learned about this. However, there was nothing he could do. Throughout the battle, he was entangled with Ace and couldn't escape. With the sad news, Aokiji returned to Marineford to recover. Naval Headquarters. Marineford. Marshal's Office. Admiral Akainu and Admiral Kizaru who were on mission abroad were all transferred back. Garp and Commander Suru sat across from Kizaru and Akainu. In front of them, Aokiji and behind him stood the 5 vice admirals who performed the Buster Call. At the head of the table, Sengoku looked gloomy. After learning the result of the battle, his beard was shaking with anger, and his eyes were about to burst into flames. He slapped the table hard and said sternly, Buster Call failed. You can't even see a group of pirates who just went to sea. Can't solve it. Are all the vice admirals in this department just doing nothing? You really let me down. No, Marshal, the opponent has Shichibukai's Crocodile. That guy's strength has improved a lot, and my subordinates doubt that he already has the strength of Admiral. Storobe said, but his voice became smaller and smaller at the end. Crocodile has the strength of Admiral. Sengoku's eyelids trembled, feeling unbelievable. That's right, not only Crocodile, but also the Straw Hat Boy and Roronoa are able to master hockey skillfully. They are not like ordinary pirates at all. Moreover, the knife in Roronoa's hand looks very similar to Wado Ikimonji, but its sharpness is even higher than that of his subordinates. I have never seen him cut off 8 stainless steel swords made by his subordinates in just one encounter. Ghost Spider introduced the situation at that time, and even now when he recalled Zoro's sword, he still felt shuddering. How terrifying will that kid be when he grows up in the future? Will it shake the status of Hawkeye, the world's greatest swordsman? Staff officer he narrowed his eyes and analyzed softly. Such young guys have the same strength as the Naval Headquarters Vice Admiral. They are all from East Blue East Blue. Is there something important that we don't know about? At one time, the emergence of a stunningly talented monster was enough trouble. And now, a ship appears. Sengoku glanced at Garp angrily. Garp, don't you have anything to say? Garp looked at his nose and his nose, looking at his heart. He picked his nose as if it had nothing to do with him and said, I don't have anything to say. I don't know much about these things. The moment Sengoku knew Luffy's name, he knew he was Garp's grandson. Then he connected it with the group of pirates that Garp encountered last time when he returned to East Blue, and everything became clear in an instant. But now is not the time to launch an attack on Garp. Garp is not a person who can be prosecuted. Kuzan, weren't you there? Why didn't you stop them? Garp immediately changed the subject and targeted Aokiji. He will not betray his disciples when trouble comes. Aokiji deadpanned, I'm stuck with a guy named Ace. Kuzan, you are a marine admiral, and you are being pestered by a young boy. Do you think it is possible? Akainu looked unhappy, feeling that Aokiji did not try his best in this operation. Aokiji gave him a cold look, a pirate who has just left the sea. His devil fruit ability is clearly flame, even more powerful than your magma. Also, have you ever seen Tsuyoshi who not only awakened Conqueror's Haki, but also mastered Muromata? A pirate out to sea. When he heard that flames were stronger than his own magma, a look of disdain flashed in the confident Akainu's eyes, but then when he heard about awakening conquerors and mastering the tyranny, the expression on his face froze. Aokiji, lying about information is a serious crime. Akainu said in disbelief. His mind. My first thought was that it's impossible. New pirate awakening conqueror's Haki can still understand that it is his natural aptitude, but what the hell is mastering the tyrant? Akainu was confused, but Garp was even more confused than him. What are you talking about? Garp suddenly stood up from the chair. The senbei in his hand fell all over the floor without paying attention. He roared and yelled. Ace has mastered Bamatu. Garp was dumbfounded and felt as if he was dreaming. The last time we met, Ace and Luffy jointly released Conqueror's Haki, and the group was like that. In the end, it only took a few days for Ace to master Ba Tang. This is impossible even for a training warehouse with accelerated time. In the end, what happened? Garp suddenly lost his composure. Sengoku's pupils contracted and his eyes trembled, showing deep shock. Conquerors. It's simply a fantasy. How old is the other person, domineering? If Aokiji hadn't admitted it himself, Sengoku would have definitely thought it was a big joke. It's too scary. Kizaru looked equally shocked, he knows very well what domination means. Not only does it mean that the other person has unlimited potential, but it also means that he has grown up. But this is too outrageous. The pirate who just went out to sea was still young, but he got the powerful admiral and stood directly on the top of the sea. Are you sure this kind of guy will go to sea? Isn't he going to conquer the sea? Garp grabbed his hair, incredulous, incomprehensible, and confused. When he launched the Buster Call, Garp had imagined any outcome, except Ace Kaiba 32. 7 Huang killed and got out. What ability does that kid Luo En have? Luo En's smiling face appeared in Garp's mind, and his thoughts turned into a ball of mush. When he first met, he realized that Luo En was not simple, but he believed that everything was still under his control. But now, Garp's mind is filled with confusion about who am I? Where am I? I always feel like something is wrong. Under Sengoku's questioning, Aokiji described the battle in detail. After listening, everyone present fell silent. Akainu lowered the brim of his hat and bowed his head silently. Kizaru crossed his legs and stared out the window. Garp clenched his fists. To be honest, he was still a little excited. Aokiji suddenly feels much more relaxed now. At the beginning, you were all stressed and doubtful about Lousy. Now you are all confused, right? Sengoku leaned on the chair tiredly, frowning and having a headache. How should we report this situation to the world government? Robin, the son of the devil, was not caught. Most wanted criminal Luo En was not killed. Crocodile ran away. I don't even know where the Pluton drawings are. Buster Call failed. Death of Spandam. CP9 died in battle. Lucci is missing. How on earth can he report this to the world government? Marshal-in-Chief Kong is not allowed to come to naval headquarters to skin him. The more he thought about it, the angrier he became. Sengoku suddenly raised his palm and smashed the desk in front of him into pieces with a slap. Ah! I am so angry. Sao Sao rice bowl gif. Sengoku was really a little broken. The anger accumulated in his chest had nowhere to vent. He was very frustrated and helpless. Who would have thought that this operation would end in defeat? It's like being played by the other party. Sengoku, calm down. Counselor, he advised, and then looked at Aokiji. Did you just say that Luo En is the captain of the Spade Pirates? That's right. The Spade Pirates were created by Ace, and Luo En became the captain because he lost a bet. However, the meaning of Ace's words is probably only temporary. Besides, Luo En never made a move from beginning to end. Aokiji nodded, glad that he still got some information. Garp couldn't help but widen his eyes when he heard this. Is there still such an operation? Misled Aokiji. That insidious guy Luo En is so thief. He didn't even reveal his strength in this situation. Garp muttered silently in his mind. At the same time, Garp also realized that there was indeed a problem with Luffy's fruit. In the fourth form, is my grandson really going to become the sun god? It seems that compared to Ace, Crocodile, Straw Hat and others, Luo En is the least threatening. Officer, he said slowly with a light flashing in his cloudy eyes. According to the analysis of Counselor he, because Luo En was too weak, he found a way to win Ace in a bet, became the temporary captain, and embraced the Spades pirates. Otherwise, according to the information, with Luo En's strength, he is not qualified to join the group of monsters called the Spade Pirates. That should be the case. Next, I will report to Marshal Kong. Now a wanted order will be issued immediately, and the Spade Pirates are wanted across the sea. Sengoku calmed down and recognized He Shen. He did not regard Luo En as a human being at all. Chapter 69 Exploding Bounty. Luo En was humiliated. Garp nodded silently. Yes. Your analysis is so right. However, he admired Luo En in his heart. That bastard Luo En actually misled Xiaohe and Sengoku. Bounty. Staff officer, he frowned slightly. Sengoku took a deep breath and said with a headache, I'll discuss this with Marshal Kong. The focus now is how to report this matter to the world government. When the 5 elders learned about it, they were furious. Strictly order the world government and marine to eradicate the Spade Pirates as soon as possible. After Spandam learned of his son's death, he was devastated and immediately led an elite task force from the world government to search the sea for the Spade Pirates to avenge his son. Marine 3 and Admiral are strictly ordered to search for traces of the Spade Pirates. Once discovered, they will be eliminated at all costs as soon as possible. The bounty was negotiated and passed to Sengoku. Marineford. Marshal's office. At this time, only Sengoku, Garp, and Staff Officer Suru were left. Don't look at me, Ji Fu really doesn't know what's going on. Garp picked his nose and said forcefully. Sengoku is asking about Ace and Luffy. Your grandson is with them, and you came into contact with them the last time you went back to East Blue. Now you say you don't know. Garp, if you don't make it clear, I will never be done with you today. Sengoku asked with an unkind expression. Garp looked helpless and explained. I know that my grandson has become a pirate, why can't I go back and see him? You are a marine hero, and you want your grandson to be a pirate. Sengoku slammed the table and said in surprise. The table is new. He insists on becoming a pirate, what can I do? Garp shrugged, looking a little uncomfortable. Sengoku also thought of something and sighed helplessly. Putting aside the issue of the grandson, Garp's son is still the #1 criminal. At this moment, a soldier knocked on the door and said, Marshal, the world government has sent a wanted order, please take a look. So fast. Sengoku was stunned for a moment, then said, send it in. Sengoku still remembers that when he reported the incident to Kong, he was scolded so much that he felt like he was back to the days when he was trained by Kong. Looking at the thick stack of wanted posters in front of him, Garp curiously came closer to see how much the bounty was for those guys. However, Garp was dumbfounded when he saw the first wanted poster. Ace. Vice Captain of the Spade Pirates, a user with Mera fruit ability, it is suspected that the fruit's ability has changed. Fighting alone, Marine Admiral Aokiji escapes intact, awakens conquerors, and masters the tyranny. Point 1. Open black lens bracket bounty. 2 billion, close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket note. Extremely dangerous, close black lens bracket. PFF 2 billion bounty. Garp felt incredible and even suspected that he had seen it wrong. Counselor, he said from the side. To be able to compete with Admiral's strength, a bounty of 2 billion is not high, and his threat cannot be underestimated. Ace's demonstrated strength is fully worthy of this bounty. Immediately afterwards, the 3 of them quickly browsed the bounty list. Open black lens bracket crocodile. Bounty. 764 million. Sand fruit ability user, formerly 7 warlords of the sea, Tianzhongmei. Extremely dangerous. Close black lens bracket. Monkey D. Luffy. Bounty. 200 million. Rubber fruit ability user, defeat naval headquarters vice admiral. Danger. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Roronoa Zoro. Bounty. 156,000. The 3 swordsmen defeated the naval headquarters vice admiral. Danger. Close black lens bracket. Open black lens bracket Nico Robin. Bounty. 106 million. Danger close black lens bracket. Then came the wanted notices for Sanji, Frankie and others, but the bounties were all average, not as explosive as Ace and Crocodile. Overall, Ace's bounty is indeed shocking. The first time he was offered a bounty, it was 2 billion. Luffy and Zoro are emerging, but for such newcomers, a bounty of over 100 million is already the limit. Even if they defeat the Marine Vice Admiral, they cannot give too high a bounty. After all, they still expect bounty hunters to attack them. Robin's bounty increased a lot, but the reason was not explained. Maybe it was because he didn't want Pluton to cause a commotion in the sea. Looking through the wanted poster, Garp couldn't help but frown. Because I didn't see Luo En's wanted poster. Strange, why isn't that kid there? Logically speaking, he is the captain of the Spade Pirates. Garp muttered in his heart. Open black lens bracket chopper. Bounty. 3,000 Baileys. Reindeer with combat capabilities. Close black lens bracket. Chopper didn't participate in the battle much, and his performance was average, and he was also treated as a pet reindeer. The bounty reaching 3,000 may have a lot to do with the Spade Pirates. When he saw the last wanted poster, Garp couldn't help laughing. Ha ha ha, this reward number is so auspicious. What would Luo En's expression be like when he saw this bounty? Sengoku stared at the bounty and couldn't help but twitching the corner of his mouth. This bounty was a bit, ahem. The next day, the bounty of the Spade Pirates was carried by a seagull and spread across the sea. The sudden appearance of the Spade Pirates shocked the entire sea. The momentum of the rising sun seems to be pointing directly to the position of the fifth emperor on the sea. Redverse. Shanks had a wanted poster for a member of the Spades in front of him. Boss, Luffy was actually offered a bounty. The first bounty was 200 million. He defeated the Marine Vice Admiral. How has this kid practiced in the past few years? Lackey Lu looked in disbelief. It's hard to imagine that the little devil back then has now become a pirate with a bounty of over 100 million. Shanks already knew the news that Luffy had gone to sea. The people sent to East Blue to investigate came back with the news that Luffy had indeed gone to sea, and Garp was suspected of having contact with Luffy's pirate group before going to the New World. And now, get Luffy's bounty. Shanks didn't speak, but kept staring at Ace's bounty, wondering what he was thinking. 2 billion. Fight against Aokiji. Master Bomatang, Captain, do you think this is possible? Beckman asked in a low voice while smoking a cigarette. The bounty shouldn't go wrong. But this thing does seem unlikely, unless this guy named Ace is a born monster. Shanks said slowly, with a solemn tone. Do you become a bully in your teens? How can this be? The only explanation is that Ace is a monster with extraordinary talents. Possessing powerful talents from birth. Otherwise, at this age, it would be impossible to master the tyranny even if you break your head. Huh, Usopp. Lousy's son is also with them. This brat has also gone to sea. The bounty, 37 million. Usopp looked at the bounty list and exclaimed. Damn it, I always feel like something is wrong. How old is that brat? Now you actually dare to go to sea. And there's a bounty of 37 million. Usopp couldn't even believe that it was his son. Also a sniper. Ha 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 ha, it seems that someone will challenge you in the future. A cadre next to him patted Yesobu on the shoulder and joked. Yesobu rubbed his head. He didn't want to talk because he had a headache. Vice captain. That's weird. Ace is not a captain with his strength. Then they're captain. Damn, this bounty is funny, isn't it? Lackey Lu looked at the bounty and finally found it in the last one. The wanted poster for the captain of the Spade Pirates. But the bounty on it almost made him choke. A strange pirate group. Captain, I think they are weird. They are all young newcomers. If 1 or 2 people are strong, I can understand it. But if all the members don't act according to common sense, then it will be. There's a problem. Beckman analyzed slowly, frowning slightly. His eyes also fell on Luo En's reward order, and he was a little surprised. Luo En, captain of the Spade Pirates, the escapee who attacked the Celestial Dragon's pirates, strength, none. Are you kidding me, Marine? Huh, it looks like the sea is about to flood into another group of interesting guys. Shanks stood up and looked into the distance. Ace's bounty and record do show his considerable talent and strength, but the current level alone is far from enough. Boss, what are we going to do? A cadre asked curiously. If anyone wants to take away the title of 4 emperors, then go ahead. Shanks Hockey said completely. He is a man at the top. It's waiting for others to challenge. For a kid who just went to sea, so what if it's a trap? The pride in Shanks's heart is not weaker than anyone else's. He will not lower his status to target others. Moby Dick. Gulu Lala, the fledgling kid made Marine angry. But the name Ace. Whitebeard stared at the name on the bounty, with a vague look of doubt in his eyes. Roger's sword back then was called Ace. Is it a coincidence, or is there something else going on? Dad, 2 billion bounty. This newcomer is too strong. Marco said in shock. 2 billion, his bounty is even higher. Gu la la la, that's because you don't understand the meaning of Conqueror's entanglement. Just wait, these guys will make the sea chaotic. Whitebeard laughed heartily. Right now, the Spade Pirates are only in the first half of the Grand Line and have not yet entered the New World. Moreover, this incident is serious, and Marine and World Government will not sit idly by. If you really want to grow up, come to New World. But I have to admit that Whitebeard became interested in Ace. Wait a minute, the captain of the Spade Pirates is actually this guy named Luo En. Josie was startled and said in disbelief. However, what made him even more unbelievable was Luo En's bounty. What's happening here? Marco was confused and felt extremely strange. That guy Crocodile is ready to go to sea again. Whitebeard said with emotion after seeing Crocodile's wanted poster. As for Luo En, he didn't care at all. Kaido and Auntie also paid attention to this important news, but in the eyes of the 4 emperors, this level was far from enough. Even the rest of the 7 warlords of the sea were shocked by the sudden appearance of Ace. However, what everyone doesn't know is that there is a more terrifying guy hidden above Ace. It is Luo En who is looked down upon by everyone. The Spade Pirates arrived at the Thriller bark overnight, and then took Moria to the Sabayati archipelago to prepare for entering the New World. Today, while on the way to sailing, I received a reward order falling from the sky. 2 billion. Ace has been offered a bounty of 2 billion belly. Frankie saw Ace's wanted poster for the first time and said immediately. 2 billion Baileys. Hearing this number, everyone on the ship was stunned. Only Luo En can remain calm. Nami looked at Ace, all money reflected in his eyes. Ace is so valuable now. Exclamation mark quote. Ha ha ha, it seems that our Spade Pirates are going to be famous too. Ace smiled happily. He is not afraid of high bounties. The higher the bounty, the more excited he is. No, do you know what the 2 billion Bailey bounty means? The bounty on you is for the 4 emperors who are at the top of the pirates. You are just below them. Moria exclaimed. Ace held up his straw hat and said confidently, 4 emperors, one day, I will surpass them. Become the pirate king. Ah, why is there such a big difference in the bounty between me and Ace? Luffy tilted his head, his face full of confusion. For a moment he forgot to argue with Ace about who should become the pirate king. But everyone is in high spirits and looking for their own bounty. What? That bastard Crocodile's bounty is more than 700 million. How disgusting. Moria looked unhappy when he saw the Crocodile bounty. Crocodile smoked his cigar and looked satisfied. Judging from the bounty alone, he is already the 3rd person in the Spade Pirates. Is there such a big difference? Zoro looked at his bounty and muttered to himself. Sanji looked devastated. His bounty was not as high as Zoro's. Usopp looked at his bounty amount and was filled with nervousness. I should be considered an official pirate now. Nami suddenly felt something was wrong. Your bounty is so high, will we be targeted by terrible enemies? Nami immediately became worried. Ha ha ha, why is it only 3,000 Baileys? What's going on with Marine? Everyone finally found Chopper's reward order, but they were all shocked by the amount, which didn't even exceed 10,000 Baileys. Pet. Reindeer. Are they blind? Luo En gritted his teeth and defended Chopper. Chopper wiped his forehead and said, it's not important, I don't really care about it. Chopper's mentality is quite calm. No wonder the bounty of hundreds in the original book is worth hundreds of millions. Perona searched for a long time and finally couldn't help but said, strange, why is there no reward for Luo En? She was very curious about how much Luo En's bounty would be. Huh, that's true. Luffy scratched his head, looking a little dazed. Look carefully, you can't have Luo En's reward, right? Nami rummaged through the many reward orders. Luo En looked a little smiling and said, it's good that there is no reward for me. It shows that I hide it well. There is no reward of his own, which at least means that there is no big threat. However, Luo En looked at the bounty orders falling all over the sky and realized that there seemed to be a mistake in his thinking. It's a good idea to hide yourself. But the problem now is that Ace and the others are already famous. Based on what they have done in the capital of 7 waters, the actions that world government and marine will take over will definitely not be small. Everyone is together. No matter how hard Luo En hides it, it will be useless. The only effect may be to disrupt the judgment of the world government and avoid a devastating blow. For example, the scene where the Knights of God, Kong, Sengoku, Garp and Marine Lord Admiral are simultaneously encircling and suppressing the pirates will not happen to the Spade Pirates at least for a short time. However, if the identity of the Sun God is exposed, that may not necessarily be the case. Here, Robin finally found Yin En's reward notice, and looked at the reward amount on it, speechless. Perona floated over, lowered her head and looked over, and then she couldn't help laughing. Luo En, your bounty, This is Perona's unique laughter, but the laughter is really loud and attracts everyone. No, ha ha ha, how come? Chihehehe. Moria couldn't help but laugh. Ahem, Luo En, your bounty. Crocodile looked embarrassed and hesitated to speak. Is there a reward for me? Luo En was stunned by everyone's laughter. He frowned and rushed forward to snatch the reward order from Perona's hand. Then, Luo En was stunned. Hiss. Without saying a word, Luo En tore up the reward order and said through gritted teeth, damn world government. Lousy and you are inseparable. 250 Baileys. Ha 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 ha. Perona laughed heartily. This bounty amount is worse than nothing. Showing it now is simply a naked humiliation. Damn. Return. Lousy, kill a marine admiral and show them. Luo En roared hysterically. This bounty is worse than nothing. Oh shit. Scholars can be killed but not humiliated. Ha 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 ha. Just now Luo En said there was no bounty for him. The laughter on the ship became even louder, and they finally saw Luo En's side that broke the defense. While they were sailing, something big happened in the Sabayati archipelago. The devil fruit, thunder fruit, known as the strongest Logia, appears. Chapter 70 Thunder Fruit's Conspiracy. Akainu encircles and destroys the Spade Pirates. All the while, Luo En was always depressed. The fact that he is wanted by the world government and marine is really insulting. 250 Baileys. Auspicious and wishful, even if it was no longer wanted, or if the amount was changed, Luo En said he would accept it. As a result, it happened to be 205. Luo En was speechless. He finally understood that he was not qualified to be on the wanted notice before. The reason why he is on the wanted notice now is because he has the title of captain of the Spade Pirates, so he borrowed it. The glory of everyone on the ship, even, he is not as good as the pet reindeer on the ship. Now, Luo En's bounty has become taboo on the ship. Perona used this to fight back against Luo En, and was spanked by Luo En until she cried. Ace, in order to avenge the incident of boarding the boat and hitting the fence, repeatedly mentioned the matter in front of Luo En, and was eventually beaten so hard that his eye sockets were beaten green. After several days of sailing, everyone is finally approaching the Sabayati archipelago. During these few days on the road, Luo En would look for a small island to park the ship every day, giving Frankie time to enter the Universal Training Warehouse to build a ship. The magical thing about the Universal Training Warehouse is that the pirate ship can be included in the space, which greatly improves shipbuilding's efficiency. Now the new pirate ship is completely built. The actual duration was nearly half a year. During this period, Frankie's shipbuilding skills have been honed to the pinnacle. It is worth mentioning that Sanji and Brook achieved breakthroughs in strength and received rewards. Sanji's body spontaneously awakened, like a diamond, extremely hard, with powerful repair capabilities, and he also gained the power of rapidity. The power of rapidity, to put it bluntly, is the power of the rabbit charm, integrated into Sanji's body. Sanji's strength has undergone a qualitative change. I believe that after he is completely familiar with his body, he will become a new high-level combat force in the pirate group. After Sanji noticed the changes in his body, he outlined the hidden unpleasant memories, and even began to doubt and dislike himself. Luo En spent a long time persuading and even dispatched Robin, Nami, and Perona to finally open up Sanji's heart. After Brook's breakthrough, his ability to target souls has evolved, and he can even launch attacks that pull people's souls out of their bodies. With the breakthroughs of Sanji and Brook, Luo's strength is quietly growing again. Usopp, Chopper, Robin, and Nami are practicing seriously, while Frankie has been immersed in shipbuilding during this period, and his strength has grown slowly. As for the cadres under Crocodile and Moria, they don't have S-level ratings and cannot receive rewards. There's nothing Luo En can do about this, it's the system's regulations. The voyage in the past few days was not smooth either. Luo En encountered at least 7 waves of attacks from pirates, 3 pursuits by marines, and 12 assassinations by desperate pirate hunters. Sailing really starts to be full of fun, and every day is full of fun. Sabayati Archipelago, located in the middle of the Grand Line and in front of the Red Line. Called 220, the Island of Failure, and the Island of Starting Again, by Brook. Near the naval headquarters, there is the world's largest mangrove, Yalch Mangrove. Because the roots of the tree are always exposed above the water, the Sabayati Islands are formed. The biggest feature of the Sabayati Islands is that the roots of the mangrove tree secrete special natural resin due to respiration. The resin expands due to the air to form bubbles, and then flies into the sky. Since the bubbles are only suitable for the climate range of the Argentine mangroves, once the bubbles leave the climate range of the Sabayati Islands, the resin component will explode because it cannot fully exert its power. Bubble cars, bubble Ferris wheels, houses built on bubbles, bubble culture permeates every place on Sabayati Island. The entire island is composed of 79 trees, all numbered, and each tree has towns and facilities. People call the archipelago of these 19 islands the Sabayati Archipelago. Yo-ho-ho-ho, Sabayati Archipelago is here. Brook stood in the sun, pointed at the islands in the distance, and shouted. Everyone rushed to the deck one after another and looked forward curiously. In front of you is a dreamlike island. Looking from a distance, it looks like a huge bubble covering the entire island. The warm and genial sunshine gently shines on the colorful bubbles, transmitting a different dreamy brilliance, giving the entire island a mysterious and desirable color. The beautiful scene made everyone in the Spade Pirates exclaim in surprise. What a beautiful island. This should be the most beautiful island we have ever experienced. Nami's beautiful eyes flashed with surprise, and she covered her mouth and said. Girls are naturally irresistible to beautiful things. I wonder what rare ingredients I can encounter. Sanji took a puff of cigarette and puffed away the smoke. Robin closed the book in his hand and chuckled. It seems to be just like what is recorded in the book, it is an island full of fantasy colors. Hurry up to the island. There is no wine on the ship. Zoro crossed his arms and looked impatient. He wanted to try the wine in this dreamy place. The pirate ship docked along a port. Calm down. Calm down. Listen to me now. Luo En called everyone together and warned. First of all, don't take everything at face value. Sabayati Archipelago is not as beautiful as you think. There are many dirty deals on the island. Also, the last wave of material supplies before going to the New World is carried out here. You must be careful not to be too ostentatious. It is not far from the naval headquarters. The Marine Admiral is just there. Once entangled, Marine can gather heavy troops. Very detrimental to us. Moria, please forgive me and guard the pirate ship. Quote. Leave it to me, Moria said helplessly. His huge body was too ostentatious, and there was really nothing he could do about it. Afterwards, everyone divided into several teams and entered the Sabayati Archipelago. Based on the lessons learned from Sky Island last time, Luo En must ensure that each team has a strong fighter who can stand up at critical moments. But not long after everyone separated, Ace sprinted all the way to find Luo En. Ace, what happened? Luo En frowned, looking surprised. After only a few minutes of separation, Ace and the others encountered an enemy. Luo En, I just found out that Thunder Fruit is being auctioned at the auction on Island number 1. Ace said very seriously. Thunder Fruit. Usopp suddenly remembered and said excitedly, isn't this the Devil Fruit ability of the guy we met on Sky Island? After Luo En killed him, he asked us to search for the Devil Fruit for a long time, but in the end didn't find it. I didn't expect it to appear here. Thunder Fruit. Is the information reliable? Luo En looked around without any trace and asked softly. He was wondering if this might be a trap. Don't worry, news of the Thunder Fruit auction came out a few days ago, attracting the appearance of many forces. Marines, pirates, world government officials, and even celestial dragons. Ace lowered his voice and explained. This is what Lao Sha told me, and he has already rushed to auction location number 1 with Zoro and the others. Crocodile knows that thunder fruit exists, so naturally he won't let it go easily. This is the trophy taken by their captain. How can it be taken advantage of by others? Damn, it's like this. Brothers, copy the guy. Luo En immediately rolled up his sleeves. Lai Langlang swore. Thunder fruit was brought down by Laozi. Is there anyone in the room who wants to get the fruits of Laozi's labor for nothing? Give it to me. K him hard. Needless to say, thunder fruit is the strongest Logia, but what makes Luo En even more excited is that someone stole the fruits of his labor. Enel was obviously solved in Sky Island. Why did thunder fruit come to Qinghai? Luo En originally planned to give up on thunder fruit after searching for Sky Island, but he didn't expect to see him again here. Meeting is fate. If you miss once, Luo En will never miss it a second time. Immediately, everyone rushed to the number 1 auction house in a hurry. At this time, the number 1 auction house turned into a chaotic battlefield. The talker at auction house number 1 has quite a lot of power. This time he borrowed the thunder fruit thing and planned to cooperate with Marine to attract the pirates, and then let Marine arrest him. Not only will he share half of the bounty, but he also planned to take advantage of thunder fruit. As a result, what he didn't expect was that thunder fruit's reputation was too loud. The large number of pirates who arrived and Marine's encirclement and suppression forces started a battle, and thunder fruit fell into a chaotic fight. Open it for Laozi. Thunder fruit belongs to Laozi. Ha 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 ha, how can a weakling like an ant deserve to own thunder fruit? The strongest Logia must belong to Laozi. Help, I don't want thunder fruit anymore, don't kill me. Get out of here, anyone who stands in my way will die. Quickly, get rid of those bastards Marine first. Sounds like this kept ringing. In the chaotic crowd, 2 Marine Vice Admirals, Stirs and Dalmasha, led the Marines to kill, and the invisible Vice Admiral pirates were forced in one direction. In the dark, 2 guys in cloaks were hiding quietly, as if waiting for an opportunity to snatch the thunder fruit. The thunder fruit changed hands one after another in the hands of the pirates. Anyone who got the thunder fruit was killed immediately. The common man is not guilty, but he is guilty of the crime. The pirates fought back, unaware that they had fallen into a huge conspiracy. After Sengoku learned about the thunder fruit, he not only wanted to seize the thunder fruit, but also used the thunder fruit to plan a conspiracy to eliminate the pirates. The news was released for a few days to attract the surrounding pirates. This is the Sabayati archipelago, the only place that leads to the New World. All pirates who appear here are heading to the New World. The purpose of Sengoku is to eliminate them all at once. This is the courage of Martial Marine, the resourceful general, Sengoku. It is also Sengoku's determination to restore Marine's image in the Seven Waters capital incident. Stieras and Dalmasha are just bait. Thunder fruit is still changing hands. The pirates gradually realize that whoever owns thunder fruit will be attacked by everyone, so that now no one dares to fight for it without scruples. Thunder fruit is placed in a transparent treasure box as a bait, and everyone must see his true face. At this time, it fell to the ground. The people around looked at each other, greed in their eyes, and their faces were full of wariness. For a while, no one dared to snatch it. But suddenly, a dark golden color appeared on the dark ground, like gravel. And then, the gravel surged up, and a figure slowly emerged. He has a big back, a gold hook, a big cloak, a cigar in his mouth, and a treasure chest of thunder fruit in his hand. Crocodile appeared and captured the thunder fruit immediately. Who? Damn it, hand over the thunder fruit. Wait, he seems to be Crocodile. Is he the crocodile who was the original 7 warlords of the sea and caused trouble in the Seven Waters capital? That's him. Why did he appear here? A commotion suddenly broke out among the pirates. In the distance, Stieras and Dalmasha looked at each other, with unexpected expressions on their faces. How could Crocodile appear here? Now that Crocodile appears, does that mean the Spade pirate ship is in the Sabayati archipelago? Quick, contact Sakazuki Admiral. Big fish caught. Stieras whispered. A general behind him immediately dialed the phone and conveyed the news of Crocodile's appearance. Doc No. 1. A tall figure wearing a red floral shirt and a marine justice cloak. His face was cold and murderous intent flashed in his eyes. Marine Admiral Sakazuki. After receiving the news from Stirs, Akainu's cold face did not change at all, but the murderous intent in his eyes became stronger. He ordered in a deep voice, inform Zan Momomaru and start the science. Learn from the army and annihilate all pirates. Yes. At this time, a marine general next to Akainu was holding a huge telephone minister in his cup. Video call bug. The video phone bug relays the signal to Naval Headquarters, Marineford. Marine Marshal Sengoku is watching the action. Marshal Sengoku, the Spade pirates have appeared. Akainu whispered. In the conference room of Naval Headquarters, Sengoku, Garp, and Tsurugi gathered together. Sengoku ordered without hesitation, Sakazuki, surround the Sabayati archipelago at all costs and don't allow anyone to escape. I immediately summoned Kuzan and Porcelino to go. Exclamation mark. This time, we must not let the Spade pirates go. Quote. The appearance of the Spade pirates surprised Sengoku. But calculating the time, if the pirates sail normally, it is indeed very likely that the Spade pirates will be in the Sabayati archipelago at this time. Originally, Sengoku didn't even consider this level, but now it was a complete surprise, and he immediately mobilized Aokiji and Kizaru to support. This time, he will never let the Spade Pirates escape. Putting Marine's dignity on the line. Bet on Marine's justice. At all costs. Kill the Spade Pirates. Wash away the shame of the Seven Waters City. Garp's eyes widened and he looked confused. How could it be such a coincidence? What is that kid Luo En doing? Why did he appear at Sabayati Archipelago with Ace and Luffy at this time? Especially since Crocodile was exposed. This is bad. Aokiji and Kizaru will arrive soon too, too bad. Don't worry, Marshal, none of them can escape. Akainu replied, with murderous intent in his voice. Later, Akainu personally organized the team to attack. The Spade Pirates. All must die. The other side of island number 1. After receiving the order, a sturdy man carrying a giant axe turned around and ordered, activate the pacifists. Bear, get ready for action. Remember, grab the thunder fruit first. The figure carrying the giant axe is Zon Momomaru, who is in charge of the scientific force developed by Vegapunk. Beside him, stood a taller figure. 7 warlords of the sea, Bartholomew Kuma. Tyrant Bear is also in the action team. Tyrant Shang didn't say a word, just nodded slightly, and then the figure quietly disappeared from the place. Subsequently, Zon Momomaru led the pacifists to fight out, encircled the marines led by Stieras and Dalmasha, and surrounded the entire number 1 island. The battle for Thunder Fruit has become somewhat tense due to the appearance of Crocodile. Hand over the Thunder Fruit. That's right. So what if you are 7 warlords of the sea? There are so many of us, we are not afraid of you at all. Among the pirates, someone boldly shouted. Faced with such threats, Crocodile just smiled coldly. Anyone who stands in my way will die. Anyone who stands in my way, die. Haki's declaration is no nonsense. Finally, the pirates couldn't bear it any longer and began to attack. One person takes action and immediately triggers a chain effect, with all the pirates flocking to Crocodile. Faced with being surrounded, Crocodile did not panic at all, and even had a sneer on his lips. Do you think there is only one person in Lousy? When the voice fell, several figures rushed out. Rubber machine gun. 3-sword style black rope big tornado. Devil's wind kicks hyphenation point the best minced meat. 84 flowers 4 trees flapping. Thunder and lightning weather. The members of the Spade Pirates emerge. As the most intense fighting broke out, a slight voice sounded from the dark room. The next second, the thunder fruit in the transparent treasure box in Crocodile's hand suddenly turned into a stone. Crocodile. What the hell is going on? Who the hell stole Lousy's thunder fruit?